Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Michael Owen. Representing District 5, Donna Cameron Cepeda. Representing District 6, Pat Kemp. Representing District 7, Joshua Wostel. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday, June 7, 2023 regular scheduled board meeting of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we ask you today for wisdom and knowledge for all the board members here today and everyone that works for Hillsborough County. We pray for protection over every one of our military men and women that are out there serving and protecting. We pray for everyone working for the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, firefighters, every first responder. We pray for their protection and lead and guide them as they help others. And this morning we also pray for the family of Jared Huprick, which recently passed. We pray for the peace of God, which passes all understanding, to garrison and mount guard over their hearts and minds and give them peace during this time. And we pray for everyone in Hillsborough County. We pray that it is well with them in their spirit, soul, and body. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. It was an honor to have approved this morning's first award back 18 years ago, and it's my pleasure to once again present this year's Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award. The board established this award to recognize the exemplary athletic, academic, and community service achievements of a high school baseball player or team in Hillsborough County. Those who win this award are sterling examples of drive, determination, and leadership, not just in their sport, but through their daily lives. And now I'd like to introduce a very special guest. The namesake of the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award is a National Baseball Hall of Fame member, 12-time All-Star, and a longtime local resident who graduated from Plant High School and has coached at Wharton High School. Wade Boggs had an incredible 3,010 hits during his 18-year Major League Baseball career. He played for the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, and then Tampa Bay Devil Rays, where he finished his career. The Rays retired his number 12 in 2000, and 7 years ago, the Boston Red Sox retired his number 26. We are proud to call him one of our own. We are pleased to have this baseball legend here this morning. And Wade, would you please come up and join me? Wade, thank you again for being here this morning, for everything you do for baseball in our community, especially with this award. And beyond baseball, thank you for all of your charitable and philanthropic efforts you do every year in Tampa and Hillsborough County. Would you please say a few words before we get started?
Thank you, Commissioner Hagan. I'd like to thank the county commissioners for taking time out of their busy schedule to recognize these three fine young men that are pillars in our community. I'd like to thank our board members. Tony Saladino is the head of that, with their arduous task every year of trying to figure out who's the best in Hillsborough County. They do a wonderful job every year. I'd like to commend the parents for the job they've done raising their children. Being a great baseball player on the field is one thing. Being a leader in your community, doing things for your community, stepping up in your community, and being a model citizen is what this award's all about. And I commend the parents for raising these fine young men where they are today. And to the gentlemen themselves, Arjun, who won it, congratulations. Caden, you're back again, brother. You almost were the back-to-back winner. Caden McDonald won it last year, and he was one of the nominees this year. And Wes Mendez, not able to be with us today, but congratulations, gentlemen. And I'm very proud of you guys for this award. Thank you.
Thanks, Wade. I'd also like to recognize the selection committee who reviewed the nominations and recommended this year's honorees. I know we have with us Tampa City Councilman Charlie Miranda. Thank you, Councilman. Penny Parks, Anthony Tony Bell, Rick Tosca, Joshua Johnson, Ruben Cuesta, and of course, our good friend Tony Saladino. Great to see you again, Tony. And also K.R. Lombardia, who's my appointee and also my high school baseball coach, who couldn't be here today. But thank you all. We very much appreciate your service. This award grows in prestige. High school baseball programs in Hillsborough County are so rich in talent. The committee once again selected 2 honorable mention recipients this year. Will the following individuals please join me? Caden McDonald and assistant coach Bob Shaw of Sickles High School. Again, it seems like we just did this. It was last year. It's very nice to see, again, familiar faces. We just did this award last year. We'll start with Caden, the 2-time captain of the Sickles Griffins. Caden continued his fabulous play this season after winning the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award last year. The big difference between this season and last is that Caden and his teammates are the 2023 state champions in Class 6A, and I'll be recognizing the team here coming up very soon. And Caden is a big reason why. He slammed an incredible 12 home runs and drove in 33 runs. In addition, he was the team's ace on the mound, a real two-way threat with a record of 7 wins, 1 loss, with 97 strikeouts and 72 innings, and an amazing earned run average of .87. His dynamic skills were on full display during the state Final Four. In the semifinal, he pitched a complete game 2-0 victory, and only 1 opposing hitter reached base. And what a surprise, he also hit a home run in the state title, a 4-2 victory against Vieira. He had a double and a couple of magnificent defensive stops at first base as the Griffins won their first state championship in baseball, finishing the season with an incredible 30-2 record and a 22-game winning streak. Congratulations, Caden, and the entire team. And folks, consider this. Caden was struck by a line drive early in the season and missed 2 weeks. He's a true leader on the field with his teammates, performing church youth group volunteer work and mentoring Keystone Little Leaguers. An honor student, a member of the National Honor Society, Caden graduated with a cumulative GPA of 6.5 and will attend the University of Florida, go Gators, with a cumulative GPA of, again, 6.5, and he'll continue to play baseball at UF. Caden, congratulations on achieving the Honorable Mention Award this year and ending your interscholastic career as a state champion. Being recognized as one of the county's top 3 high school baseball players 2 years in a row is an incredible achievement, and to my knowledge, has never been done. So, Caden, I'd like to come up and please say a few words.
I would first like to start by thanking the selection committee and Mr. Boggs. You know, this is a great honor, and you know, I'm glad to be back. It's just a great way to cap off my high school career, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And to be in consideration with Arjun and Wes and the insane amount of talent that they have, you know, it's just really an honor. Thank you.
Good morning. It's very easy for me to talk about Caden. I've been around him for the last 4 years, and he's going to be on for immortal on Sickles High School baseball walls for the last 2 seasons on the field. 20 home runs, 488 batting average, 83 hits on the mound, 20-0 or 20 wins, I should say, and 183 strikeouts. So he'll be able to come back years from now and see his name up on our leaderboards. But on top of just his baseball accolades, he's been a model student. If you talk to any Sickles High School teacher that's had him, they'll hold you for 10 minutes and tell you what a great young man he is and kind, and that's just a testament to his parents, Kevin and Melissa, and definitely we're going to miss him. So I guess I'm going to have to become a Gator fan. I grew up in Miami and played at USF, so that's going to be tough for me, but it's going to be easy to follow him. So Caden, congratulations.
Kate, it's my privilege to present you this plaque and autographed baseball from Wade Boggs, and present this to you. If you could, we get a quick picture here with Wade. Coach. I think I've got to get me. I played baseball. And now Wes Mendez of Jesuit High School. Wes couldn't be here today due to a family obligation, but last year Wes was selected as a Wade Boggs Honorable Mention winner, helping lead his team to the state championship as a junior. This season he remained a force at .388 batting average, 5 home runs, 2 triples, 8 doubles, 36 runs batted in, and 14 stolen bases. He also went 4-0 on the mound with a 2.07 ERA and 49 strikeouts in 27 innings. Wes is a big reason that Tigers returned to the state championship game this year. The outcome wasn't what we all hoped for, but Wes had a heck of a season and a high school career to remember. A National Honor Society member who graduated with a 3.75 GPA, Wes also is very active in community service, recording over 175 hours. On the field and in the community, Wes sets an example as a leader, team captain, and as someone JV and freshman players look up to. Wes plans to attend Ole Miss in the fall to continue his education and play ball. It certainly should come as no surprise that Wes is a Wade Boggs Honorable Mention recipient 2023, once again being named one of the top 3 baseball players in Hillsborough County. So congratulations to Wes and Wade. It's my understanding you're going to accept on behalf of. I'll give this to you here. Just give this to you or pass them on. Mm-hmm. So. Congratulations again to Wes Mendez. Yeah. There you go. All right. Okay. So due to prior obligations, our Arjun Nimala and Coach Eric Beatty of Strawberry Crest High School are unable to be here today, but we're happy to have Arjun's mom, Niru, and his brother and teammate, Akil, with us. In addition, Molly Beatty, the wife of Coach Beatty, has joined us. So would you folks please come forward? Hey, man, how you doing? Welcome. Arjun Nimala is a tremendous story that should inspire everyone in our community. Arjun is likely to be the highest profile Major League Baseball draft selection of anyone of Indian heritage. He is expected to be picked in the first round this summer as a highly skilled shortstop. He was dominant in all phases of the game this season. He had an astounding .479 with 6 home runs, 3 triples, 7 doubles, 29 RBIs, a whopping .904 slugging percentage, and 9 stolen bases. And he is amazing defensively, recording an incredible fielding percentage of .958 with just 3 errors all season. He's well known in the amateur and professional baseball circles, playing in the Perfect Game All-American Game and participating in the Perfect Game All-American Home Run Derby in the Arizona Diamondbacks Stadium. He's a 2-time first-team All-Western Conference selection and the 2023 Florida Athletic Coaches Association's District 15 Most Valuable Player. Arjun also is an all-star in the classroom at Strawberry Crest. He graduated with a cumulative GPA of 6.9 in the academically rigorous IB program and plans to attend FSU to continue his education and play baseball. In addition, he's a tremendous person with a big heart. Arjun has adopted a local elementary school family every year during the holidays and also has worked to help support 8 families with gifts over the last 4 years. Despite starting school a year earlier than normal, he's a true leader on the field and in the weight room, has a tireless work ethic, and is humble. Because of his outstanding performance on the field, his academic excellence, and his tremendous leadership at school and in the community, Arjun Namala is the 2023 winner of the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award, the 17th recipient of this honor. So congratulations to Arjun. It's my pleasure to present this to... Oh, shoot. I'm giving you a small one.
I think you know what to do after 18 years.
You never stop learning on this job. So. It's my honor to present this to you.
Thank you, sir.
And would you and I'd like to say a few words, please?
Well, good morning. My name is Molly, and I'm just really thankful and honored to be here to accept and present. I'm sorry, I'm not accepting. I'm presenting the award for Arjun today on behalf of my husband, Eric. When he started Strawberry Crest 14 years ago, I knew it was going to be a really special place for young men to develop on the baseball field as well as off the baseball field. And I think today is a great representation of that. It's been a really special year getting to watch Arjun play and develop, and we're thrilled and excited to see all that he continues to achieve in his career. And I just think it's such a testament with all of us here today, his family here today, and all of the other honorees to show what baseball means to this community. It's a family affair in Hillsborough County, and so we all have ties with some of the other recipients here, and it's just an honor to be here and to accept and have Arjun represent Strawberry Crest baseball. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Akil. I'm his brother. Obviously, Arjun couldn't be here today, but I know, speaking on his behalf, I know he'd be really grateful. Thank you to the selection committee, and obviously, congrats to the other nominees, and thank you to Mr. Boggs. And ever since me and Arjun have been kids, he's the most hardworking, most wanting kid I've known, so I know no one better this award could go to, and I'd just like to say thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Arjun's mom, Neeru. It's an honor to be here. I'm really excited and so proud of Arjun. I remember him right from the day he held a cricket bat in his hand to this day. It has been a really exciting journey and wouldn't really be possible without his coaches, Beatty, and his travel ball coaches, and family and friends who supported us all along. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. So thank you to every one of them. Thank you, Mr. Wade Boggs, for being an inspiration and example for the young talent. So thank you.
We get a group one? Okay. We're going to take one last photo. Let's go back. And congratulations again to all the recipients, and Wade, again, thank you so much for everything doing in our community. And you want to say any last words? You good? All right. Well, this concludes the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award ceremony, and we'll let a few minutes a minute or two go by so those can exit the room. And Commissioner Pat Kemp will present the next proclamation. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm very happy to welcome some special guests this morning, and I'll call the following individuals to join me at the podium. First, Kevin Beckner. Mr. Beckner, I didn't quite see you there, served as on the Board of County Commissioners, District 6, the district I'm in now, countywide from 2008 to 2016. Good to see you this morning. Also, Tampa Pride President and organizer, Kerry West, and his group, Kerry West, Mark Bias. As well as Reverend Ed Kasselnick, pastor of the Faith Family United Church of Christ, and members of the Hillsborough Democratic Caucus. Anyone who would like to join up here for this may. Okay. This is an exciting time for Hillsborough County. Every year, a proclamation is presented recognizing June as LGBTQ plus Pride Month, and it's a cause for celebration. Tampa Pride is a great organization. Its signature events are the Tampa Pride Street Festival and Diversity Parade, which were held in March, drawing tens of thousands of residents and visitors to our community. They were a lot of fun, I think you'll agree. Mr. Beckner and Tampa Pride do an incredible job in advocating and raising awareness of LGBTQ plus rights, demonstrating that Hillsborough County embraces all people. It's a privilege to present this proclamation this morning. And we have 3 proclamations here to present to the 3 groups here this morning. And the proclamations read, whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, asexual, and queer or questioning Pride Month is celebrated nationwide each year in the month of June. And whereas Hillsborough County maintains its positive stance on diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in all areas of the LGBTQ plus community, as it continues to move forward and celebrate you, the theme of Pride Month 2023. And whereas all the positives that Pride Month brings to Hillsborough's LGBTQ plus community, residents of Florida and throughout the nation showcase what true diversity is all about in all aspects of community living by celebrating you. And whereas through all education levels, sports alliances, ideologies, work inclusiveness, neighborly assistance, medical and wellness outreach, and fun, we can't forget fun, the LGBTQ plus community is the sunshine of positivity that people see across this nation as we celebrate you. And whereas Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa were showcased to millions of people on more than 50 ABC TV networks during the broadcast of Tampa Pride 2023 Diversity Parade and Festival in March, sharing a story that celebrates you. And whereas education is our future, And Hillsborough County is proud of the many additional scholarships that have been provided to the LGBTQ plus community by numerous organizations and resources during this Pride Month, efforts that celebrate you. Whereas the future is bright for new organizations, groups, corporations, and businesses moving into Hillsborough County, largely because of the diversity our county offers, and establishes a high standard of equality while celebrating you. And whereas the warm individuality and colorful artistry of the LGBTQ plus community are welcome in Hillsborough County as the county celebrates you. And whereas Hillsborough County will continue to be a county where all people, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, are treated with dignity and respect, and is proud as we celebrate you this month. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida does hereby declare June 2023 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month in Hillsborough County. Encourages all residents and visitors to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists, and urges everyone to recognize and respect those who are dedicated to providing a safe and inclusive community in Hillsborough County as we celebrate you. Executed this 7th day of June, 2023, and I will present these three proclamations to, here we go. One to you, and one to you, and one to you. You lined up nicely here. Okay. And first I'll ask Mr. Reckner, do you have a few words for us?
Well, thank you, Commissioner Kemp and fellow commissioners. It's great to be back home in this forum again. And what a great honor to be able to be with you today to celebrate the recognition of LGBTQ month here in Hillsborough County. And while we're celebrating the many individuals that make our county diverse and that brings vibrancy to our county, I think it's also important to remember and reflect upon the past and where we've come as a community and where we're going in the future. Back in 2005, this very Board of County Commissioners actually banned gay pride from Hillsborough County. And for 8 years, it remained a stigma and a stain and caused great, not only economic hardship, but division in our community. And Mr. Chairman, you were present during that time from 2008 to 2013, and you realize, and I know that you know the division that such a policy had created on our community, but you also recognize of what an inclusiveness can and what economic vitality can happen when that policy was removed and our community could once again come together. And so it's important to reflect on the past because we don't want to see the past revisited here in Hillsborough County. And while all the divisive policies that are coming from Tallahassee and other legislatures across the country continue to divide our country, it is so important that we remain unified as a community. And commissioners, while you cannot control what comes out of Tallahassee and Washington, you can ensure that such divisive policies never make it here to Hillsborough County and once again divide our community. So thank you again. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, commissioners, for all the work that you do on behalf of our community. And to everyone, happy Pride. Thank you.
And also, Mr. West, did you have a few words?
Good morning. I'm Kerry West and president of Tampa Pride. And one thing that's to be noted that this is a great month of celebration for the LGBTQ month is that we are the sunshine in the spotlight of the country. They look at the Tampa Bay area as one of the largest and growing areas that's very inclusive, it's diverse, and also it's bringing in a lot of the economics of major corporations. as we've been noted and talked to, and they look the whole diversity of what this area is all about. And we thank you, all the commissioners, because it's because of you and the help that you've done to help make this community the community that it is. It's diverse, it's friendly, and it's welcoming. So I thank you very much, and we'll take a look at 2024, as it's going to be the 10-year anniversary of Tampa Pride, and it will be a big celebration again throughout Tampa. Thank you very much.
And finally, we'll hear from Luis Salazar.
Good morning, everyone. Just a few words here. We gather here today to celebrate a wonderful proclamation in honor of Pride Month. While many of us participate in prides across the globe surrounded by joy and acceptance, let us not forget why we are here. While the battle for equality is not over, let us remember two names, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Riviera. Their actions at the Stonewall Inn ignited a gay liberation movement, which has led us to the month of June, where we celebrate and memorialize their moment of defiance. As we gather with friends and loved ones to march, cheer, and celebrate our right to exist, please take a moment to remember them, two trans women of color who said enough was enough, and honor them and all heroes that came after them to allow us to make it this far. I encourage you all to use their names as a battle cry when the world and the victory seems bleak. Remember, we have heroes too, and we are part of American history. Always remember to stand tall and proud, never let anyone tell you who to be, what to wear, or who you should love. And always remember, the first Pride was a riot. Stay safe and happy Pride.
Thank you. And now we'll just all move back here for picture.
Thank you, Commissioner Kemp. Now Commissioner Myers will present this morning's final proclamation.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Will the following individuals join me at the podium? Balaji Ake and R.J. Stevenson from Rock the Block Festivals. Pastor Felicia Tucker Johnson, President of the Tampa Bay Juneteenth Coalition. Little Miss Juneteenth, Zoe Grace. Miss Juneteenth, Jada Gordon. And Florida Juneteenth Ambassador, Jerry Ellis Carmana. I can stand on this side. Stand on this side. Okay. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. In cities and counties across the nation, people of all races are coming together to acknowledge a period in history that shaped and continues to influence our society today. This special occasion is called Juneteenth, which is the oldest national recognized celebration of ending of slavery in the United States. I'm honored that representatives from Rock the Block Festival and the Tampa Bay Juneteenth Coalition are here today to accept this proclamation, which celebrates June 19, 2023 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Hillsborough County. The proclamation reads, whereas Juneteenth represents the first day celebrating freedom in America for African Americans and is the last known celebration for the ending of slavery, while also embracing African American history, cultural strength, and achievements, and whereas on June 19, 1865, America, with its former slaves, celebrated the new birth of freedom, naming it Juneteenth, and whereas for 99 years, African Americans nurtured this freedom while serving in America's war and conflicts, exemplifying courage and patriotism and exhibiting patience with grace in the face of draconic laws and severe inequality. And whereas over the course of time and through many trials, Juneteenth liberation events flourish across the nation, inspiring citizens to honor their freedom through music, storytelling, education, ceremonies, and celebrations. And whereas, known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, Texas native Opal Lee devoted decades of her life to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, and she kept the spirit of the story of Juneteenth alive. And whereas, after many years of struggle and courtesy of Opal Lee's dedication, on June 19, 2021, the 156th anniversary of the first Juneteenth, President Joe Biden signed into law Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, creating a federal holiday to commemorate Juneteenth. And whereas on July 14, 2021, the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners unanimously passed a motion making Juneteenth a county holiday starting in 2022, allowing all county employees to celebrate Juneteenth. And whereas Balaja Ahaki and R.J. Stevens from Rock the Block Festival, LLC, curators of Tampa Bay Area Juneteenth Cultural Festival celebration, and the Tampa Bay June Coalition deserve recognition and praise for their continued commitment, dedication, and effort that generated cultural awareness of Juneteenth. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare June 19, 2023 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Hillsborough County, and encourages everyone to celebrate Juneteenth and honor these achievements and contributions of African Americans in Hillsborough County, the state of Florida, and the nation, awarded the 7th day of June, 2023. RJ. My staff, why don't you bring the proclamations? Thank you. So we can win the RJ and one for Keith.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Myers, Board of Commissioners, and all that are gathered. This has been an amazing opportunity to lead our community in celebrating what our ancestors were able to accomplish here in this country. Having been brought here outside of their will and having gone through years and years of toils to even see where we are today, standing in the same room that many of our ancestors were forbidden in gathering. We appreciate our community for offering an honor of this magnitude, and we believe that from the efforts that we'll do on the weekend of Juneteenth, that the spirit of our ancestors will forever be honored in the privilege of what we'll do. Thank you all so much for this privilege, and we appreciate you and your support.
Thank you. Felicia Tucker-Johnson.
Good morning. I am so grateful to be here this morning, but as an educator of over 40 years here in the Hillsborough County School District, I have this thing about young people. So if you notice, we have our queens here today, and I am going to actually ask them to come up and actually thank you all for this commendation. With being an educator, I just want to let you know, I have created a Juneteenth superhero. So as my brother, Pastor RJ, was saying, it is such a privilege being in a place where years ago our ancestors were forbidden. But we must also remember that as time moves on, it is our job to educate our young people. So I'm looking at this as passing the torch this morning as my queens come forth and they accept this proclamation. Thank you, Commissioner Gwen Myers, and thank you, City of Tampa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jade Gordon, 2023 Miss Juneteenth. I am so proud of the Tampa Bay Juneteenth Coalition to proudly accept this proclamation. As one in the youth, I am very proud of myself that I am able to make a difference because my African American ancestors did so, and I want to do so too.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jerry Ellis Carmona, the Juneteenth ambassador, and I just want to thank everybody that helped with this proclamation.
As we celebrate Juneteenth, let us not forget 156 years ago, African Americans were dancing in the streets. But today, we honor Juneteenth by having so many events. And I invite and encourage all of us to make sure when the weekend of Juneteenth appears, let's go out and support the various organizations that are having events. On June 15th at 1 o'clock, we're going to raise the flag here at County Center. And on June 19th, which is Juneteenth, we're going to have a program over at our West Tampa Resource Center, which is located at 2103 North Rome Avenue in West Tampa, and I invite all of you to come. So let's continue to celebrate Juneteenth and not forget where we have come. Thank you so much. Let's go back.
And thank you, Commissioner Myers. Ms. Wise, you want to review the changes to the agenda?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. We have one off the agenda item by Commissioner Wastell. It's item F4. This is to discuss the report on nonprofit organizations funded by the general fund previously presented at the April 5th, 2023 BOCC regular meeting. We have one item that is deferred to June 22nd. This is item A22, which is to accept the state-funded grant agreement for the hazardous materials planning grant agreement. We have one correction to the agenda in item A24 for the correct date. This is to approve the agreement accepting funding from the Children's Board of Hillsborough County for the period of May 3rd, 2023 through September 30th, 2023 for Healthcare Services Enrollment Campaign Outreach Program. We have several items for time certain. The first one is by Commissioner Myers, item F3 at 10 o'clock, to approve the renaming of the county's University Area Community Center complex to honor Senator Victor Crest. Item E1 is at 10:15. This is a special appearance by Craig Richard, President and CEO of the Tampa Bay Economic Development Council, to present the semi-annual activity report. 11:45 is a recess for lunch. Those are the changes to the agenda.
Can we have a motion to approve the changes?
Move approval.
Second. Motion, Commissioner Kemp, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Okay, I have the one that's not working, of course.
I can take your vote verbally, Commissioner Kemp.
I'll do a yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right, we'll go into the public comment portion of the agenda. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concern. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing input to the board members. However, it's requested at the same time when you address the board that comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or staff member, but rather the issues. The board has set aside a 45-minute period in the morning for public comment. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which your name requests to speak have been received. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly. We have 39 individuals that have signed up this morning. There's no way that we'll be able to get to every one of you, So what I'd like to suggest, unless there's exception from the board, we give each person 2 minutes this morning so we can accommodate as many people as possible, if that's okay with the board.
I'll move to do that.
Okay. Motion, Commissioner Kemp, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Commissioner Kemp, your vote?
I'm in support.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right, thank you. The first 3 speakers this morning are all in person. Brenda Streeter, followed by Les Miller, and then Howard Harris. Good morning.
Good morning. I am sorry I was prepared for 3 minutes, so I'll try to make this quick as possible. My name is Brenda Streeter. I am a board member of the Sugar Creek and Buffalo State Civic Association and president of the Neighborhood Watch. As a nonprofit group and non-HOA community, we are often challenged with funding to keep a safe and clean, family-friendly environment for the residents. The Civic Association was established in 2014 and has since partnered with various resources provided by Hillsborough County, utilizing grants from the Hillsborough County Neighborhood Relations to support the biannual community cleanups, to gatherings that included a bike rodeo sponsored by the Children's Boards in partnership with the Hillsborough County Sheriff Department. The event was held at the renovated Bypass Canal Park. We were given an opportunity to provide Hillsborough County Parks and Recs with a top 10 wish list for the park improvements, receiving 8 of those 10 items. 2 were denied because of environmental restrictions. Currently, we are participating in a pilot program sponsored by Hillsborough County Solid Waste. This process informs and educates the residents of required placement and removal of the trash bins as mandated by Hillsborough Solid Waste. The early results has had a positive effect on the overall community curbside appearance. To all the components of Hillsborough County, both past and present, we say thank you. Under the administration of Commissioner Gunn Myers, with her attendance to our community conversation meetings, visitation to sponsored events, and providing town hall meetings, Commissioner Myers saw a need and took an opportunity to provide our community with a more family-friendly environment by funding the Kings Forest Project.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, Les Miller, followed by Howard Harris, and then Chris Hill, which is virtual. Good morning, stranger.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members, Ms. Wise, Ms. Beck. It's good to be back again. My name is Les Miller, and I'm the Imperial Deputy of the Oasis of Hiram Temple, number 23 of the Ancient Egyptian Arabic Order Nobles of Mystic Shrine of North and South America's jurisdictions. On behalf of the Nobles of Hiram Temple, number 23, and the illustrious potentate who could not be with us, Noble Mark Brewington, we want to thank you, and a special thank you to Commissioner Gunn Myers for providing funds for our temple to support our initiatives and programs. And I know I only have 2 minutes, so I'm going to go through these real fast. The dollars that you gave us will also help us in our youth programs and mentoring programs, our diabetes initiative that we all know that the cost of diabetes and insulin is off the chain, and we work very hard to try to bring those costs down. Our school supply program to help those less fortunate students that don't have opportunities to have school supplies. We go around the county making sure that we can help those less fortunate students. Our assistance with feeding the Tampa Bay and feeding those that need food the most, and working also with State Representative Diane Hart, who's here. Our scholarship and grant program, and tonight we have our scholarship and grant program at the Children's Board that we'll be awarding 5 scholarships to deserving students. But one of the also things that we'll be doing, the 130th Imperial Council session for the Nobles of the Ancient Egyptian Arabic Order Nobles of Mystic Shrine, and the 112th Imperial Court session of our daughters, which is auxiliary, will be holding our Imperial session here in Hillsborough County, Tampa, August 18th to the 23rd. We expect 20,000 attendees. We'll have many programs, youth seminars, youth education enhancement programs. The fiscal impact for that conference is $25 million. This is the 4th time that we've been to Tampa, Hillsborough County, and we'll be coming back again in 2026. And we are looking forward to having those members here, and we're fortunate enough to have the 45th Imperial Potentate of our organization, which is worldwide from Tampa. That's the Honorable Eric R. Myers, who's our Imperial Potentate. Man, why'd you do that?
I'm sorry. You know I love you. You're the last one I'd want to cut off, Senator Miller.
Thank you, sir. I'm done.
But thank you. Great to see you again. Howard Harris, and then followed by Chris Hill, virtual, and then Paulette Walker. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Howard Harris with the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade Foundation. Here in moral support is retired Colonel, is it? Major Rocky Ratliff from Tampa Police Department. We're here to just really thank the commissioners for their support, and it's tough following a commissioner, but I do want to thank Commissioner Miller as been the first to increase the funding for the Dr. Martin Luther King Parade Foundation. Our goal from the very beginning has been to make the parade an event the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County could be proud of, and we formed a nonprofit to make sure that that happened about 7 years ago. And since we've done that, I think we've grown Tampa's MLK parade into probably the biggest in the Southeast. And so it's with the county's funding that we were able to experience that growth. And bottom line is the parade allows us to present the best of who the Tampa Bay area is all at once. It's a family-friendly event. We have representatives from the business community, from government, local government, as many of yourselves have appeared in that parade. We have representatives from community agencies all over this county, and the relationships that are formed through the parade have helped all the organizations to continue to do the things that they do. And so we're just pleased and excited to be in the middle of all of that and helping to make that happen. So thanks once again to Hillsborough County for the support that they have provided in letting us grow this celebration. And of course, Dr. King was about service to his community, service to the country, service to the world. And what we try to do each year is highlight those people in our community who carry that legacy forward. And we take every opportunity we can to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Appreciate your comments. Chris Hill, I believe is virtual, and then we have Paulette Walker, Jarvis Elamine, and Laurel Jones. Chris, are you on the line?
Good morning, Yes, good morning, County Commissioners. And I'd like to thank you. I am the president, I'm Chris Hill, I'm the president of United Bikers Jamboree.
Hold on one second, sir. Anything we can do to improve his...
Mr. Hill, can you get a little closer to your microphone or make sure the microphone is clear?
Yes, good morning, sir, and County Commissioners. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me better now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, County Commissioners. My name is Chris Hill. I am the chairperson for the United Bikers Jamboree, and we celebrated our 4th event we had here in Tampa, and it was a success. We'd like to thank Les Miller and Commissioner Gwen Myers for their support. Without their support, we would not be able to put this event on. Carrying this event on throughout the year, we're planning on, which we did last year, feeding 1,000 families. This year, we plan on trying to feed 1,200 families. And we want to thank you guys for all the support that you've given us with this event. And we're looking forward to doing number 5 next year.
All right, thank you, sir. Paulette Walker, Jarvis Elamine, and then Laurel Jones. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Paulette C. Walker, the 25th National President of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and a proud member of the Tampa Alumni Chapter. I want to thank our Commissioner, Gwen Myers, for her funding, and I say her funding because I understand that there are many who may not have agreed with her, and that's okay. We appreciate that. As a result of the funding that we have received, just wanted to be known that we have been able to impact the community because of that funding. We have been able to do things such as having an expressions event, which was in honor of mental health. And we all know that mental health is an issue in our community as well as across this country. We've also had an opportunity to have college tours for both middle school and high school students, as well as our upcoming event, which is called Pursue Your Passion, which is a college and career expo. Again, we want to thank the commissioners who all voted to support and say that it was okay to have county funding, and we thank you. And for those who did not, or who are thinking that they don't, we want to thank you in advance for your ability to rethink your decisions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Jarvis Elamine, Laurel Jones, and then Anthony George. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, County Commissioners, Chairman Hagan. My name is Jarvis Elamine. I am the program manager for Masjid al-Nasser, your community mosque, and Sulphur Springs, one of the most impoverished communities in the city of Tampa. I just want to say that with the last 5 years, we've been able to do a lot of great things in that area, such as feeding over 25 families, partnered with Feeding America, and the first person that ever supported us in our food pantry was State Representative Diane Hart, gave us our first bag of food. We have also mentored over 400 youth in that area, particularly young African-American boys between the ages of 9 and 15, trying to keep them by conflict resolution, peer pressure, positive self-esteem, partnering with the CDC of Tampa, doing a lot of great things in the community. Also working with returning citizens and ex-offenders, partnering with the Noah House. With our workforce initiative, we'll be able to create about 35, 40 jobs for these people that probably wouldn't have no job and probably end up going back to penitentiary or probably being a part of the criminal justice system if we didn't give them that opportunity. We have some commissioners that have been there and visited our facility in Sulphur Springs, such as Commissioner Myers, Commissioner Coyne. They've been there, they know what we're doing. This is not a talk program, we walk it the way we talk it. And so we want you to continue and expand these services by contributing to our efforts to do this. And that's what government is about. Not a hand out, but a hand up to help us expand and do more good and be not just impressive, but to be impactful to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Laurel Jones, followed by Anthony George, and then Collis Ivory III, which is virtual. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Laurel Jones, Board President, Dress for Success, Tampa Bay. Well, I'm here this morning to express our thanks for the sensational support that Dress for Success has received from Commissioner Gwen Myers. Yes, it's definitely about the people. Money that we have used for our workforce training and leadership development. You are certainly a generous and committed sponsor, and we definitely thank you for that. Now, many, when they think of Dress for Success, the first thought is about dressing our clients in professional attire. Well, Dress for Success is more than a suit. We dress our clients on the outside and the inside, so the funds that were provided were definitely put to good use. Our mission to empower women to reach their full potential also includes a focus on workforce development through our Moving Forward program, Professional Women's Group, and other leadership training. We provide services to help clients reach their goals and to thrive both professionally and personally. It's a journey that includes everything from resume writing, mock interviews, to personal development workshops, digital literacy, financial literacy, health and wellness, and all of those funds were contributing to that and our success with that. So because of that, we were also able to expand our programs, and we now have 2 locations in the Tampa area, one on Howard, which many of you know, we've been there for many, many years, and also at Career Source. This year, Dress for Success Tampa Bay is proud to celebrate 25 years. We are proud to have served and equipped more than 35,000 women. Women who are now confidently supporting their families and strengthening our community. We are thankful for your support, Commissioner Myers, and appreciate this opportunity to share about Dress for Success Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Anthony George. Morning.
Good morning. My name is Anthony George. I am the president of the Tampa Caribbean Festival, Inc. I'm here today with my treasurer, my wife, Ms. Jennifer George. Tampa Caribbean Festival, Inc. is a cultural organization, and we bring Caribbean festivals to Tampa. Our signature event is the Tampa Bay Caribbean Carnival. This is our 18th year doing Caribbean Carnival in the Tampa Bay area. Thanks to Ms. Gwen Myers for stepping in after the pandemic and be able to help us continue the program. The festival was well received by the public. We had over 4,000 Tampa Bay residents there, together with visitors from all over. Caribbean Carnival, as much as it's a local festival, is a huge, it can develop into a huge tourism event for the Tampa Bay area, like the Miami Festival and the New York Festival. So by continuing investing in the festival, you'll be able to make us reach to that level of Caribbean Festival. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Collis Ivory III is virtual, and then it'll be Carmen Edwards, followed by Carrie Bauer, who's also virtual. Collis, are you on the line?
Yes. To the Board of County Commissioners, I'm Collis Ivory III, President of the local Tampa Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity. On behalf of our members, I want to thank the County Commissioners with a special thanks to Commissioner Gwen Myers for providing funding to our organization in support of our 86th Grand Chapter meeting being held in Tampa, July 18th through the 23rd, 2023. We are the first of the Divine Nine to host the National Convention in Tampa. We expect upwards of 15,000 people in attendance, and Visit Tampa Bay projected an economic impact to the Hillsborough County area to be about $15 million. The funds we received from Hillsborough County are being used to assist with our community service project for the Skills Center, a community-based organization designed to teach youth how to transfer skills, learn through sports, and apply them through other environments in their lives, such as school, work, and community. In addition, the Skills Center uses athletics to create, through academic success, life skills, mentoring, and health for young people ages 3 through 18 in Tampa Bay. This project is in direct support of our Tampa Alumni Guide Right Foundation, which underwrites activities that contributes to the growth and development of our Tampa Elite program, a program we use to mentor young men between the ages of 10 through 18 years old in Hillsborough County. The funding will also be used to help support our health fair seminar during the national meeting's family outing. Several health fair or health-related organizations, including Moffitt Cancer Center, Genentech, Pfizer, USF Health, Aetna, and Johnson & Johnson will be on hand to provide health screenings, educational material, and seminars to the community at large in the areas where health disparities are the greatest. Finally, being able to host these activities with community access to our family outing will provide exposure and economic opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ivory.
To a minimum of 29 minority owners.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your
much.
comments. Carmen Edwards, and then followed by Carrie, I think it's Bauer, virtual, and Lillian Pride. Good morning, Ms. Edwards.
Hi, good morning. First of all, Chairman Hagan, I would like to thank you for stopping the incinerator building up in Lutz. We really appreciated that and you taking the charge on that, and we are very appreciative of that, so thank you. I'm here today to talk a little bit about budgeting and the budget for the BOCC. The first thing that came to my mind about this is trust. It's a small 5-letter word, but it holds so much weight. Trust is what every county citizen should have in our elected officials. Unfortunately, over the years, this trust has been eroded due to poor decisions, feckless spending, and poor budgeting. I understand the budget is already set for this year. There is very little we can do to stop some of these frivolous programs and projects from moving forward. However, moving forward, we must do better. Affordable housing and other programs need to be re-examined. The model needs to be changed. Why are my tax dollars going to a private business to buy concrete printers? How will I benefit from that? Does it benefit the masses? Does it help fix roads and sidewalks? Does it build new firehouses and schools we desperately need, and all the infrastructure that goes along with it? The county budget is out of control. We are headed for a deficit. I am asking, please put a moratorium on spending and get the budget under control. Stop reckless spending that only benefits the few and not the masses. Rebuild trust with your constituents by showing you can be fiscally responsible with our tax dollars. By showing you can be fiscally responsible with our tax dollars.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. I appreciate your comments. Carrie, I think it's Bauer. I apologize if I'm messing your name up. It's virtual. And then Lillian Pride, virtual.
Mr. Chairman, Carrie did not call in.
Okay. How about Lillian Pride?
Yes, Lillian, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Lillian Pride, and I'm the chair of the Republican Liberty Caucus of Hillsborough County. I wanted to point out first that the listing of the 2B agenda item, which is actually the same issue that Carmen is bringing up about the public funding for the affordable housing. It's pretty deceptive since it actually does not include the amount that the BOC intends to spend, like the items in the A section. So 2B actually intends to spend more BOCC money than any of the individual amounts listed under the A items, with $2 million of public funding going to the private contractor that is supposed to help with building the project. So we approve of all the orderly charitable efforts from community nonprofits. And there are a number of things the county can do to support them, like deregulating all of the different entry-level positions in the county and waiving county taxes and approving rezoning, that kind of stuff. But what we don't support is mandatory redistribution of wealth, especially when the main beneficiary is actually the private industry. These housing units will not be publicly owned and managed, and Floridians don't benefit equally from it. So why is tax money being used for it? When considering the entire train of cause and effect, there are clear winners and losers with publicly funded affordable housing. The only clear winners are a few public officials who have more power over the individuals who depend on them for their housing, and the private contractors who receive a fully funded construction project. The clear losers are private individuals who have to pay higher taxes or higher rents, or else settle for government dependency and inferior housing. The one clear thing the county can do to make privately owned housing more affordable is to decrease red tape in the community and its associated taxes and expenses. I request that the BOCC not approve any public funding for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pride. Sean Wilson, followed by Ben Walker.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, staff, and citizens of Hillsborough County. My name is Sean Wilson. I'm the president of Blue Sky Communities, with offices at 180 Fountain Parkway in St. Petersburg. You may hear in a moment from Maggie Rogers, who is our joint venture partner on Casa di Francesco. She will talk a little bit about the development itself. All that information is available to you in your background materials, I assume, anyway. Casa di Francesco, it first came about in 2019. The diocese approached Blue Sky about doing affordable housing on their property. In 2020, we signed a joint venture agreement, and we applied for rezoning and comp plan amendment, which was then approved in 2021 by the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. We applied for state funding. We won. We applied for county funding. In 2022, we won, and that was approved again by the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners in January. So Casa di Francesco has been in front of this commission at least twice and has been approved. Today's item is regarding the tax-exempt bonds. It is not regarding the county funding itself, which again has already been approved. Yes, it's going to be owned by a private company, but you're never going to have to pay for maintenance. You're not going to have to pay for staffing, upkeep, capital. The county investment in affordable housing is a one-time only, so it's not like roads or fire stations or libraries. It's a one-time only. Blue Sky Communities, based on those prior approvals, we have invested $780,000 of our own money. That's Blue Sky money. That's not county money. That's architects, that's engineers, that's lawyers, that's municipal fees for the applications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're a few months away from getting ready to start construction, and we hope that you will approve item B2. Please follow through on what the county has already approved twice. We understand you may want to change the policy in the future. That's for next year. Please uphold what you've already approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ben Walker, followed by Rhonda Watts, which is virtual, and then Jalem Robinson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Hagan, Vice Chair Wynn Myers, Board of County Commissioners. My name is Ben Walker. I'm representing Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'm here in regards to the nonprofit funding. What that program allows us to do is we have a program called Men of Tomorrow. The program was established in 1994 What happens is we take young men, African-American men, that typically come from an at-risk background, typically a single-family household. We bring them in freshman year of high school. They continue all the way through senior year, and then once they graduate, we equip them with a scholarship, a laptop, and book stipend to go to college. It's been a very successful program. We meet once a month throughout the year. On a Saturday, we teach them public speaking, SAT prep. We bring the families in, talk about financial literacy, and then we accommodate that at the end of the program with a college bus tour to let them decide which college they want to go to. We don't care if they go to trade school, 2-year or 4-year. What we care about is these young men graduate, go to college, and the idea is that we actually retain that talent here in Tampa Bay. This year, we had 8 young men graduate. All 8 men have actually been accepted to college already. They will start in the fall. In the last 3 years, our program has grown from 16 young men to 50 young men. So we're very excited about that. We also just had announced a partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters that we're going to have a regional trial here that hopefully will grow into a national program. And the idea is those littles that we adopt, those littles will go through that Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Then they will actually enter the pipeline for our program to continue on. That funding, and as you can imagine, as the program grows, the funding need grows. And so we are very thankful for Green Myers for the nonprofit help we have here. And the idea, as we know, as a region, the idea is to train the citizens here and then retain that talent here. And that's what we're trying to do. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Rhonda Watts, are you on the line?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, my name is Rhonda Watts, and I am the COO at CDC of Tampa. I just want to take a moment to speak to the importance of Hillsborough County investing in nonprofit organizations. Gwen Myers, thank you for your continued support. When you invest in nonprofits, you're making an investment in the constituents. Your continued partnership with nonprofit organizations such as CDC of Tampa are essential and key to providing much-needed services to the community. Funding from the county allows us to work with organizations such as Ultimate Medical Academy in providing free training to our future medical workers. That's an investment in people. It allows us to build affordable homes for low-income residents. That's an investment in communities. It allows us to provide workforce training to those disconnected youth that aren't going off to college but need a jump start to their careers. Our Summer Fire Academy is training future firefighters, EMTs, and police officers. That's investing in our future workforce. Nonprofits rely on funding from the county that can be leveraged with other sources to make sure that we can continue providing services to vulnerable populations for free or at reduced cost. The services that nonprofits provide help individuals to grow and thrive, which in turn helps you help those that live and work in Hillsborough County. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Watts. Jalen Robinson, followed by Maggie Rogers.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? My name is Jalen Robinson, CEO and founder of Brothers United Building Brothers Alliance. I'm just here this morning to say thank you, Commissioner Myers, for the funding for our nonprofit organization. For those of you all who don't know, BUBBA is a mentoring organization. We do mentoring, tutoring, and many different other programs and services for boys and men here in Hillsborough County. And there were a couple months ago when the news and the media and everybody was asking, what are we going to do about the problems that we're seeing in our community? What are we going to do about the gun violence? What are we going to do about these communities that are facing this trouble? And I spoke up at the event and I said, well, me and my guys, some of them are here in the audience with me, we're doing the work. We're out in the community. We have programs, we have services, we have many different things for these boys to participate in to help solve this solution. But the issue is we don't have the funding to do what we need to do. As a CEO here in Tampa Bay says all the time, Tim Marks, more money, more mission. So we know what to do. We know what needs to be done. We just need the funding to do so. So thank you so much, Commissioner Myers, for this opportunity. This is actually our first first grant that we're getting to be able to put to use for our programming, because since 2014, we've been doing what we can with what we can, what we've received from parents, friends, and families to keep this thing going. So this is a step in the right direction, and we hope that others will see the importance of this work and how important and crucial it is to support work like this to really do what needs to be done in the community. So we know what needs to be done. We're here doing it. We just need the funding to keep doing more work. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we look forward to being able to do more.
Thank you. Maggie Rogers. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Hagan and members of the board. I'm Maggie Rogers, Executive Director of Catholic Charities, Diocese of St. Petersburg. Catholic Charities has been providing social services to those in need in Hillsborough County for 78 years. We currently have 38 affordable housing facilities throughout our 5-county coverage area. 20 of those facilities are located in Hillsborough County, consisting of 1,000 affordable housing units. Last year, we housed over 2,400 families, single men and women, the elderly, those re-entering the community from jail, those with past convictions, veterans, and formerly homeless. 4 years ago, the Diocese of St. Petersburg was approached, we approached Blue Sky about doing affordable housing on land at St. Francis of Assisi's Catholic Church in Zeffner. We then developed a partnership agreement where we are 25% partners. This allows us to continue to fulfill our mission. We named this development Casa de Francesco in honor of St. Francis, the namesake of the parish. Casa de Francesco will be 140 units of senior housing for persons aged 62 and up. The rental rate will range anywhere from about $300 per month to just over $1,000 a month, depending on the person's income. There will be services and programs to ensure that residents have a high quality of life. This is a wonderful development and something that is in fact greatly needed in today's economic environment. We ask you to continue the amazing partnership we have had for decades with Hillsborough County by approving Casa de Francisco, item B2. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Maggie Doherty, which is virtual.
Maggie, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. I'm here. Okay, I'm calling about item B2. I'd just like to say that I oppose using our taxpayer dollars to enrich private developers. Our money should be spent on fixing our roads and infrastructures. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. Vanessa McCleary, also virtual.
Hi, my name is Vanessa McCleary. I am the VP of Real Estate Development for the CDC of Tampa, and I wanted to speak on the issue of nonprofit organizations and funding through the BOCC. I feel that it is so important, and I think people don't recognize how important the nonprofit sector is to this community. For economic development to thrive, you have to take care of the people within your community, and you have to have the quality of life. And nonprofit organizations are the ones that are providing that. When you support affordable housing, you are removing blight. You are stabilizing families. You are stabilizing homes. You are stabilizing our school system. When kids are moved constantly because the rents are going up, it destabilizes the schools, and you have problems in the schools that cause teachers to not be able to educate. When you fund organizations that put on festivals and events, that is helping to make this an attractive community. We have seen the growth in this area, and it's because of the quality of life that has been funded through the BOCC. When you help a nonprofit organization to house a homeless person, that's improving my quality of life. Because if they weren't there providing services to the homeless, then our street corners would be filled. And right now we know that that problem is out of control, but it would be so much worse if the nonprofit organizations weren't there. When you help to fund programs that assist kids to help them find a better way of life, to go on to college and to improve their life, then they come back to this community and they are contributing members who are adding to our tax base. The nonprofit organizations don't take away from the tax base. They improve our tax base by improving the quality of life and encouraging businesses to want to be here, to locate in Hillsborough County. So I implore the BOCC to continue to fund those organizations that improve the quality of life for our residents. It's not just about the rich. It's also about how we treat our poor.
Thank you, Ms. McCleary. Appreciate your comments. Steve Dougherty, virtual.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me address the board. I think it's great that private developers want to invest in affordable housing, but they need to do so with private funds, not taxpayer dollars. Rather, instead, these funds should be used to invest in the long list of needs that the county has in their existing infrastructure. This is what taxpayers expect when you're making your payments every year for property taxes, not to be financing private developers. So I'm asking that you vote no in using taxpayer dollars to benefit private developers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dougherty. Lisa Baldwin, virtual.
Yes, hi. Thank you for allowing me to address issue B2. Rethink for this alliance that's been occurring between the Catholic diocese and private industry, Blue Sky in this example, and it crosses all the lines and really interferes with the basic church and state separation issues. And now you want to move forward with funding. I ask you to please vote no on issuance of this bond for Casa de Francesco that only benefit a couple of people in the community, and it doesn't by any stretch weigh the financial obligations to the taxpayers and to benefit only this very few handful of people. It doesn't make any sense for the amount of bonds that are being requested. Please do not fund. Please vote no.
Thank you, Ms. Baldwin. Todd Josko, followed by Dr. James Davison. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Let's see if I can put something on the Elmo. Maybe not. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Todd Josko with Ballard Partners. I'm here on behalf of Renew Financial and speaking to item G1, which is a staff report on the Florida PACE Financing Agency, and we're having some difficulties and some the G1 has to do with the Florida PACE Financing Agency and litigation. I'm here to deliver the message that my client, Renew Financial, as well as all other PACE agencies that are not affiliated with FPFA are not involved in that matter, and they're not writing PACE policies in Hillsborough County. All of the other non-FPFA affiliated PACE providers continue to follow local rules. So in jurisdictions that have a PACE program, they follow those rules. In jurisdictions that do not have a PACE program, like Hillsborough County, we're not doing business. It's unfortunate. We wish that we could do business because absent a PACE program, I think citizens are not able to finance needed home improvements. But that is a discussion for another day. Again, in conclusion, wanted to assure the board that neither Renew Financial or any other non-FPFA PACE agencies are currently doing business in Hillsborough County. We value the partnership with local governments, and in jurisdictions that have a PACE program, PACE remains an important option for folks to make needed home improvements in the resiliency and energy space. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Josko. Dr. Davison. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Jim Davison from New Tampa. Public comment is not allowed at workshops, but it should be. After the strategic misrepresentation by the administration at the budget rollout last month, I'm compelled to give the board a few facts to ponder while you deliberate today. Staff went to great lengths trying to show the respectful and comfortable way they are growing county government. Well, between fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 2023, the county administrator's operating budget grew from $1.14 billion to to $1.793 billion, a 61% increase in 3 years, or over 17% compound per year. That's not sustainable. The elected officials, who we always blame, grew from $551 million to $668 million, or only 21%. Those are over the last 3 years. In the 3 previous years, the county administrator's operating budget went from $950 million to $1.14 billion, or only 17% over 3 years, less than 5% per year. Perfectly sustainable. The elected offices increased only 15% over that same time period. The continued increases were not caused by COVID. You have a spending problem. And if you don't get a handle on it, everyone in this room and in this county is going to suffer. I'd like to turn to a more happy topic. My good friend and fellow New Tampian, Victor Christ, congratulate the board on renaming the University Area Community Center in his honor. His love for the people and his dedication to the people are inspiring. And you couldn't have picked a better person to name that after. And I congratulate him and his family. May they have full sails and calm seas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Davidson. Freddie Barton, virtual.
Good morning, Commissioners. Freddie Barton, Executive Director for Safe and Sound Hillsborough, Weather Violence Prevention Collaborative of Hillsborough County. I'm here speaking on item 4 regarding the county's investment in the nonprofits. While the Leadership Council of Safe and Sound Hillsborough is comprised of all of our interlocal agencies, including the Board of County Commissioners, the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, the Public Defender's Office, State Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, School District, 13th Judicial Circuit, and the Children's Board, it is imperative that we rely on and partner with nonprofits and community-based organizations to reach as many residents as possible throughout Hillsborough County. I'd like to thank this board and Hillsborough County for providing support not just for Safe and Sound through the interlocal agreement, but also by partnering and providing facility space for our programs and support for nonprofits that assist us in our efforts to keep our community safe. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Myers for always being a champion for our community partners, as well as our youth. Nonprofits in our targeted zip codes have allowed us to improve quality of life for our youth and families, create programs to address reducing recidivism, address and provide support for mental health, and continue to expand violence prevention efforts throughout the county. Safe and Sound Hillsborough utilizes one such nonprofit, the CDC of Tampa, as its fiscal agent and programming partners. We've also partnered with several of the organizations that you've already heard from this morning, allowing us to address graduation rates, family support services, and improving the relationships between community and law enforcement. While we're very pleased with the work that we've been able to accomplish throughout our partners, we also know that we have so much further to go, especially with the rise in gun violence amongst our youth. In 2022, in the city of Tampa and parts of Hillsborough County, there were over 300 shootings, fatal and non-fatal. Those numbers far exceed the numbers for 2021, and in less than half the year of 2023, the numbers still show a rise in youth getting their hands on guns. We must continue to provide awareness and support to address this epidemic, and our nonprofits are here to help us in our efforts. As you have discussed from the report today, I, as well as the Leadership Council, chaired by our Public Defender Julianne Holt, encourage you to consider the impact of nonprofits and the quality of life that they improve for our residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. Daisy Young, virtual, and then the last speaker this morning will be Harrison Lundy. Is Ms. Young on the phone?
My name is Daisy Young, and hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so real estate developers are business owners that profit for their real estate projects. The public has their own financial concerns and should not be on the hook for private real estate developers via revenue bonds. The public is not private investors' financial aid via these public revenue bonds. These real estate developments are not for public use, such as libraries, maybe even possibly educational programs for such skilled workers as plumbers, electricians, etc., that benefit the entire community, including their own financial circumstance. They're also not rec centers for common use. No on financial aid for real estate developers that work for profit. No on BO2 revenue bonds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Harrison Lundy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Harrison Lundy. I am an organizer
with Women's Voices of Southwest Florida. Very recently, I did file to also run as a state house candidate. I want to bring it back to some really good news. I want to thank Commissioner Kemp and Commissioner Myers for your continued support of the Black community, of the LGBTQ community. I am myself a queer organizer, a queer activist, a queer candidate now, and I just think that, this is what we need right now. And I would like to thank the entire board for your continued support, because as somebody who organizes in Tallahassee and sees a lot of these issues take place in the local scale, it's really nice to see that the county level, we're taking some action and helping sustain our communities from all kinds of diverse backgrounds. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Lundy. Again, that closes the public comment portion of the agenda. We were able to get through 26 speakers. We still have an additional 13. You'll have an opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting today if you are so inclined to stick around. With that, can we have a motion to approve consent?
Second.
Got a motion to approve the consent, Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Commissioner Kemp. Thank you. Motion carried 7-0.
All right. Bonnie, want to introduce the first item?
Thank you. The first item is item F3. This is Commissioner Myers' item, is to approve the renaming of the county's University Area Community Center Complex in honor of Senator Victor Crist.
Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to share a few comments about Senator Victor Crist, who is a trailblazer and continues to work in the university area community for many years and many more years to come. Back in the day, it was known as Suitcase City, and I met Victor when he was a hippie. I was an employee for the county's Housing and Community Development Department. In 1989, Victor had 2 busloads of citizens from the Suitcase City community who attended the county's Community Development Block Grant public hearing for the county to consider providing social services in this community. That night, Victor and the citizen received everything that they asked the board to fund. We all know Suitcase City was a very, very blighted area, and thanks to Victor and the citizens, a very bright light shines on Uptown as it is known today. Senator Crist worked with the federal government's Weed and Seeds community and law enforcement to weed out drugs in the university area. He served 35 years as president of the USF Area Community Civic Association. Senator Crist led the effort to fund privately and publicly design, build, and program the new University Area Community Park and Recreation Annex, and much, much more in that community. It would take the rest of this board meeting, the board meeting of June 22nd, to talk about Senator Victor Crist's accomplishments. Therefore, I move that we approve the renaming of the county's University Area Community Center Complex located at 14013 North 22nd Street, Tampa, in honor of former Senator Victor Crist. I know Reverend Don Grantham is here, the late Gaylord Hall, and the late Ed Radis, who was a county park and recreation director, are saying from heaven, well-deserved, Senator Victor Crist. Congratulations and thank you.
Second. Okay, we got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Cohen. I think before we vote, we might want to hear from the good senator. Yes. That's okay. Senator Crist, please come forward.
I got the message, Mr. Chairman. You said I only had 30 minutes.
Victor, with all due respect, I would frequently cut you off when you're on this board, and I'll do the same today. So, I don't want to do that, but
I love you, Ken. I am extremely grateful to you, Commissioner Myers, for bringing this forward, and to the rest of the board for agreeing to do this. I truly never thought that I would live to see this day happen, even though I thought one day it may. I woke up this morning and I pinched myself just to make sure that I wasn't dreaming. But I would be amiss to say that, I really need to recognize and thank the people who are here. We actually have a lot more people who you aren't seeing that are downstairs. And I know for a fact that we have well over 75 people here today that wanted to come, of which over 16 of them are either current or former elected officials from both political parties. Mr. Chairman, I know, having served, that in itself is significant, and for those who are serving now, it is important to realize that we're all here as Americans, and we've got to work together to find that consensus and move forward. And over the years, I have always found that to be the way of achievement, trying to work out solutions together to help those who need the help to be able to survive and sustain and contribute back to society. You see, the work in the university area was about what Mama always used to say every day: love. Love, care, love, care. I heard that every day of my life. And the university area is a unique area where you no sooner help a family grow out of poverty and become self-sustaining, and they leave and move on and become successful, and a new family at risk moves in. That's why the area garnished the name Suitcase City, is because it was and still is so transient. A lot of questions have been, Victor, over all these years, the change has been modest, but progressively forward. Yes, that's true, but every time we've helped 1,000 people up and out of the area into prosperity, a new group of 2,000 people move in. So it's constantly going back and starting over. But the good news is, in 25 years, over 250,000 people have been helped out of poverty. You see, 10,000 people a year go through the University Area Community Center and the programs of the provider partners. The UACCC was created by Hillsborough County, the state of Florida, and the USF Area Community Civic Association to be a unique public-private partnership to bring the private sector and the public sector together for community improvement and help for those who are in need. There are a lot of people here from the generations of the board from the very beginning. I'd like to thank you for coming. There are a lot of staff that's here from the various nonprofit partners. I'd like to thank you for coming. I'd like to thank Sarah Combs for her leadership and the good work that she is doing. And for the chairman who replaced me as chairman of the UACCC, Gene Marshall, who was senior vice president of Chase Manhattan Banks, that was sent to Florida to set up Chase Southeast United States. He was head of Chase Worldwide Charities, and he is still very actively engaged on the board. Tony Coleman, who followed him, and the current chairman of the board, Dr. Eisenberg, who it was the most recent provost at the University of South Florida. There are a few people I want to call out today that were extra specially people in this project. The first is a lady at the time that was fresh out of college that I met through my advertising endeavors, who joined the Civic Association and helped write the private sector portion of the federal Weed and Seed grant. Then went to work as a volunteer and then got brought on board as paid staff in supporting our task forces that did the needs assessment and the action plan that did the groundwork for the blueprint of tomorrow. And that's Miss Amy Raybeck O'Rourke. The next is actually my ex-girlfriend. I've got 4 of them here today. And 2 were in the car with my wife and I this morning. But, and if I hear one more thing about needing a hearing aid, but that's Miss Chisato Igawi. Chisato, if you could please stand. Chisato was the first major gift donor to the initiative that set off a train of private sector fundraising that went into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So yes, she's very modest and she's going to kill me later for asking her to stand, but it's time that you get recognized. There's a gentleman, I think, that's downstairs, but his name is Dr. Jerry Lieberman. I met him at USF. Our politics are completely opposite. But what I learned from Jerry was how to test, how to measure, how to understand the nature of what we were working with, how to develop and design programs that could be effective. What Jerry learned from me is how the private sector needed to fund them. So it was a match made in heaven. And last but not least, my wife, Angela. Who is a member of a different political party than me. But I don't hold that against her until Election Day, and we cancel each other out. But I met Angela at the center. She didn't like me. In fact, she hated me. And, you know, we fought for a year, and then we brought a consultant in to help us get along better. And the consultant said I had to take her to all the functions with me so she could fundraise while I was goober smooching. And one thing led to another, and we became friends. But if it wasn't for the center, I would never have met Angela, and if I never would have met Angela, I never would have married her. And if I wouldn't have married her, I wouldn't have had the next person, which is the last person in significance I want to mention. That's my daughter, Sophia. Come here, Sophia. Yeah. I just want to say that picture in the paper of her sitting on my lap, where that gentleman is sitting now, and she did what she wasn't supposed to do at the wrong time while she was sitting on my lap. That's the spot right there. All right. Mr. Chairman, there's one person I'd like to introduce that came 1,000 miles to be here today. It's a young lady that's one of thousands of young people who has gone through the center and its programs. When she found out this was happening today, I got a phone call that she wanted to be here. And she drove all the way across the country with her mother and brother to be here today. And she just wants to say a few words of thank you to you and your predecessors and to those in the audience that have been significantly involved in supporting this effort all these years. If she may have just a couple of minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Alexa, would you please join me? I haven't seen her since she was in elementary school. Oh, my Lord. Now she's working for a law firm. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Alexis Santiago, and in 2005, my mom, brother, and I lived in the area formerly known as Suquay City, plagued with poverty and crime, and it was one of the most blighted and underserved communities in the Tampa Bay area. For years, I grappled with the cruelties of life that a neighborhood like that exposed me to. I felt that there was no hope for a better life. However, in 2006, I was introduced to Senator Crist's University Community Center and the UACCC's educational and self-development programs geared towards at-risk youth like me and their families. The center's programs became our saving grace. Being 13 and growing up in such a high-crime, low-income area, there were many negative temptations. It was all too easy to fall into the wrong crowd and get caught up in trouble. But thanks to Senator Crist and his creation of the center, I was given a fighting chance for a better future. Now, 17 years later, after graduating from Florida State University's College of Business with a Bachelor of Science degree, I am now working in human resource management at a law firm and preparing to go to law school to become an attorney myself. As I look back, thank you. As I look back on my life experiences and see how far I've come, I can say with absolute certainty that my situation would have been drastically different without Senator Crist, the UACCC, and all those involved in making the center the center, the lifesaver that it is today. I wholeheartedly thank you, Senator Christ, for founding the center and bringing its partnerships together. I thank you, Hillsborough County Commission, and your predecessors for your continued support of the center and its programs and services, and to all of those others who have contributed to its success. You have enabled tens of thousands of people like me to build a better life and to be more than victims of our past circumstances. I'm living proof that with the right resources and support, anyone can have a genuine chance at success. Thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, Board of County Commissioners, staff, Bonnie Weiss, those who are watching in the building, thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of the people of the University Area Community, on behalf of the USF Area Community Civic Association, which I'm going into my 36th year as president, on behalf of the University Area Community Development Corporation, University Area Community Center, thank you from the bottom of my heart. In all sincerity, I am very, very humble and very, very grateful today.
Well, I want to first of all thank the young woman. I apologize that I didn't catch your name, for the one that just spoke, for your warming testimony. Those were very, very special remarks. And I want to thank everyone for coming down here this morning in support of our friend, Victor Christ. Victor, it's great to see you. I want to say it was an honor to serve with you. You fought so very hard for your district, which was my former district. So we always had each other's back. And I know frequently we would tag team staff and other board members when necessary, and couldn't have asked for a better ally. And as Commissioner Myers stated, you fought for decades for the former Suitcase City, now Uptown. I mean, this was clearly your love. And you probably don't remember this, but the very first time we met was at the University Area Community Center. I was recently elected, and you had asked for a meeting, and you were a senator at the time, and you were very cordial and polite and kind then, not knowing that 8 years later we would be serving together on this board, and we worked together closely when you were in the legislature. And I want to say one other thing is that I always admired your bipartisan approach to governing. If you believed in an issue or cause, you didn't care about any potential political fallout from that, and I always admired you for that. I couldn't have asked for a better ally and colleague, and I want to just thank Commissioner Myers for bringing this forward, for her leadership on this. And with that, we've got a motion by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
One last thing, Senator Chris, would you and your family like to come up, and why don't we get a picture with the board? And Sophia, those are awesome shoes. You need to keep rocking those shoes, girl.
You're good. Good, you know. I was doing something else. You do your thing. One, two, three. Thank you.
All right, Bonnie, we've got a 10:15 time certain?
Yes, sir, we do. The next item is item E1. This is a special appearance by Craig Richard, President and CEO of the Tampa Bay Economic Development Council.
That's a tough act to follow, Mr. Richards. Why don't we just give it a moment and then.
Whenever you're ready for it.
Which way do I?
For it and just say next slide.
Okay.
We'll have the video and the slides and everything ready for you.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, I hope staff warned you that we might be a few minutes behind schedule. So
I was aware. I was also made aware to be brief since I'm the last one between your lunch break.
So you got that memo too. That's good.
Oh yeah. That is a hard act to follow. Senator Chris was one of the first commissioners that I met with when I came on the scene about 7 years ago. And we had an introductory, what was supposed to have been a 30-minute meeting, turned into about an hour and 30 minutes because we had to go through every plaque that he had on his wall and hear all the stories about it and the picture of Angela Bassett on there. And anyway, yeah. Everybody has a Senator Chris story.
All right, I think we're good.
We ready?
Yep.
All right. Well, I have a presentation for you today, and let me first thank all of you commissioners for your partnership and support over the years. I'm Craig Richard, President and CEO of the Tampa Bay Economic Development Council, and we make a presentation to you twice a year about the results of our partnership and our contract for services. And what I'd like to do today is go through some of that information. So next slide, please. So over the past 2 quarters, we've had the good fortune of working and closing on 9 economic development projects so far this fiscal year. Among these is a project is Cisco, which is a 500,000 square foot distribution center in Plant City. And it broke ground yesterday, and Commissioner Owens and I got a chance to go and see that and toss the dirt over there and celebrate 200 new jobs with an average wage of $82,000. What a fantastic project. And we continue to see strong economic activity on the international side as well. In fact, over 40% of our new prospects generated this year have been from international destinations, particularly the UK and Canada. And we continue to see a lot of activity in the IT, financial sectors, information technology, and manufacturing sides as well. Next slide, please. This is a graph of our metrics to date, and we're tracking well on all of our goals. In fact, we're more than halfway toward our capital investment goal, and we still have a lot of activity happening. So I'm really optimistic that we'll be at the end of the year, we'll be at all of our goals. Next slide, please. And in fact, this isn't in Q1 and Q2. This is actually in Q3. One of the projects that we were excited to recently announce at our mid-year report in April was Pitney Bowes. And this is a global shipping and mailing company that announced plans to open a new global services center here in Tampa. And they announced to employ over 100 employees right here. And I want to thank Commissioner Hagan for joining us at our mid-year report to celebrate and hear that announcement for Pitney Bowes. Next slide. And also, just recently, we celebrated a business mission to London. And with our regional partners and elected officials from Hillsborough County, Pasco County, as well as Pinellas, the trip was really to commemorate and really carve in stone our relationship with Virgin Atlantic, who recently announced a direct flight from Tampa to Heathrow Airport. And I want to thank Commissioner Myers for joining us on that. We had 3 counties, 3 mayors, and 5 county commissioners with over 30 business leaders on that mission. It was quite a success. Next slide, please. So our Expand Tampa Bay is a survey that we produce for our local companies. As everybody knows, the new companies moving to town get a lot of the headlines, but really where the jobs are created are from our local companies. And so it's important that we hear from our local companies about what's happening. So we poll local companies to find out what indeed is occurring with them and to kind of get a pulse for their activities. And some of the insights that we've generated from over 69 companies that participated in this, representing over 23,000 employees, 48% of those businesses reported year-over-year sales increases. That's a really positive sign. 45% reported increase in their local employment over the past year, and 42% said that they plan to expand their operations over the next 3 years. 22% report that they are still having difficulties hiring, and that is not uncommon, which is important for us to continue our workforce training efforts and making sure that we can have the people in here to support the businesses that are trying to grow here as well. Next slide, please. So one of our efforts to generate leads for business development is we use LinkedIn and social media. And our team continues to be proactive in generating the awareness of Tampa and Hillsborough County as a business destination. And we launched 2 new campaigns just recently on LinkedIn to target company executives within targeted industries and within our strategic growth areas. And you'll see some of those ads up there on the screen. Next, please. And so with our partners at Visit Tampa Bay and the generous support from you, we were able to launch one of our largest talent attraction campaigns that we've had. And this campaign targets young professionals in key markets like Boston, New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and is designed to generate awareness about who we are, what it's like to live and work here. And while we're a great place to visit, you might want to consider, building your career here and building your business here. And so that's the Make It Tampa Bay campaign. And this campaign is still running, but some of the early results are that we've had 27,000 users over this past session in January and February. 99% of those 27,000 users are new. So that means we're reaching a new audience. And we've had over 5 million impressions and 4,000 clicks on Meta and LinkedIn hits. So that's very positive in terms of getting the awareness out about who we are. The total impressions through April the 30th across campaign channels is 24.4 million people. Next, I'd like to show you an example of our Make It Tampa Bay video campaign, and this is a really short campaign. If you can just click on that, it should start to play. Great. And again, I want to thank Visit Tampa Bay for their partnership with that material as well. Lastly, I want to give you a brief update on our community development efforts. In January, we announced a partnership with the Tampa General Hospital to expand and enhance Tampa's Medical and Research and Innovation District. This is a partnership we think is groundbreaking, and we're excited to partner with them on this. The idea is to build an inclusive economic ecosystem that will attract top talent and world-class innovation serving as a catalyst for job creation and a healthier, more prosperous region. We've outlined an action plan on how we need to get that done, and we're working closely with John Curris and his staff at TGH. So lastly, I just want to say, and next slide, please. I just want to say again, you've heard me say this many times, that economic development is a team sport. And we're so pleased to be able to work with Bonnie and her team, her economic development team, with Ron Barton and Yaksha. We are a formidable force together. And we could not produce these results without your support and your partnership. And again, I just want to tell you thank you very much, and we look forward to continuing this relationship and being even stronger than we've ever been. Thank you.
Mr. Richards, thank you for your presentation. And like you said, it is a team effort. I know as Rob Higgins at the Sports Commission likes to call it Team Tampa Bay.
That's right.
And we look forward to continuing working strongly with you and also exploring any other ways that we can be of assistance to help to continue to improve our corporate recruitment efforts. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Okay.
Bonnie, next item.
Thank you. We can now move to the regular agenda. The first item is item B1. This is to approve a development in the West River redevelopment area with the City of Tampa Family Development. And this is to adopt a resolution by the issuance of Housing Finance Authority bonds. Mary Helen Ferris from the County Attorney's Office is here, and Cheryl Howell is also here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Mary Helen Ferris. The recommended board motion is to adopt a resolution approving the issuance by the Housing Finance Authority of bonds not to exceed $46.5 million for the purpose of financing and constructing a multifamily rental house development located in West River. I have the breakdown, but this will be a family development with a set-aside period of 50 years, and there's no county funds involved in this project. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion approved, Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Cohen. If no comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Next item.
And item B2 is also a request by the Housing Finance Authority to adopt a resolution approving their issuance of bonds for the Casa de Francesco project. This is located in Seffner, and it's $21.5 million of tax-exempt bonds. The county is also funding this project for a total of $6 million, with $2 million coming from HOPE funds and $4 million coming from home funds. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
All right, can we have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Specifically on this item, the $2 million is from countywide general funds, correct? From property taxes?
Yes, it's Karen.
They're from property taxes. So
Anyway.
I appreciate the Catholic Charities being here as a lifelong multi-generational Catholic. My son is baptized in Catholic. I absolutely support the Catholic faith. And in fact, I specifically support either the 7th or 8th commandment, depending on which Bible you're reading, which is that thou shalt not steal. And I would never force my beliefs on any other individual, just as I would expect them to not force their beliefs on me, whether it was the Catholic religion or Scientology, which we've had protests in here about not to force money, property taxes to go to those organizations. For those reasons, and the fact that property taxes are now going to a private developer, which developers love to get a finger pointed at them, I have received hundreds of emails and phone calls from senior citizens that are living on fixed income in Hillsborough County that represents one of the most dense residence base of senior citizens throughout the entire state of Florida. Those that are living on fixed income that are already aged out of the housing market to be able to increase their cost of living, if needed, which is an unavoidable tax, is their property taxes. So when you continue to elevate the need to spend property taxes on things that don't benefit them, you thereby might facilitate them needing to rely on affordable housing in their sunset years. For those reasons, I will be voting no on this item.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Owen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, I'm not going to be supporting this. I represent the Seffner area, and I've done my office hours in there where I literally sit down and I let people get in a line, and I listen to all their concerns and take them one by one, and I end up having to turn people away a lot. They've been crystal clear that they don't want any type of multifamily development out there, which I know we can't prevent all the time, but I can tell you that the community out there is not ready when it comes to roads, infrastructure, and public safety for this type of development. The other thing that I really would like to address too is, and I think this developer, by the way, builds beautiful communities. This is nothing personal against the development, but I also want to address whenever something says it's already approved, I want you to continue to do what's already approved. Nothing to me is already approved if I have to approve it. So I just want that whole concept that things are approved, and maybe it's something we have to look at one day on how a prior board, when they approve something within the budget, where it doesn't come before the next board, because then we have to put our stamp of approval on it. And so I just really want to make that crystal clear. But this is nothing personal against the development. I just do not think that this is not near the urban core. We're getting close to the urban service area line, and I represent the district, and I made a commitment to the folks here. And again, unlike B1, these are using taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion to approve Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. If no other comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 4-3. Commissioners Cameron, Cepeda, Owen, and Wostel voted no.
All right, next item.
Thank you. The next item is item B3. Sorry, I was looking for Kevin. And Kevin Brickey will present this item. This is a budget amendment related to the American Rescue Plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Brickey, Management and Budget. This item asks the addition of $8.6 million of additional funding to the ARP replacement stations. There are 3 of them, Palm River, Armdale, and Gunn Highway. Those were originally approved by the board on January 12th of 2022. Since that time, these projects have experienced strong inflationary pressure and site condition challenges. And in that vein, current estimates to complete the projects have increased. So this item will commit the remaining $6.7 million of ARP funding that has not previously been committed to a project by the board, and will also commit the remaining $1.9 million from the county department initiatives, the ARP county department initiatives. The total of that was $5 million. This will commit the remaining $1.9 million. So this item will realign the reserves and the county department initiatives to those 3 ARP replacement fire stations.
Thank you. Commissioner Owen?
Yes, I can't tell you how excited I am about this. This is such a great thing. I really want to commend Bonnie and staff for making sure that these funds were available, because in essence, this is that 3rd fire station, correct, Bonnie, that we're pretty much funding? Or
Yeah, it's 3 replacement fire stations.
3 replacement fire stations. So this is so highly needed. Appreciate you, appreciate staff. I'll move for approval.
Second.
And I just want to echo Commissioner Owen's comments. One of them's Gunn Highway in my district, and I think it's one of the first fire stations in Hillsborough County. Drastically needs improvement, so I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. Okay, so we have a motion to approve by, who's that by? Commissioner Owen, second Commissioner Kemp. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Your next item is F1, and you have 2 board appointments, and Luann is coming in here to get you through that.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Your first board is your Public Library Board. Your District 1 appointment will be Carmen Alvarez. And please choose 2 for District 4, Commissioner Hagan.
2 and 3.
Commissioner Myers.
2 and 3.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
2 and 3.
Commissioner Cohen.
2 and 3.
Commissioner Owen.
3 and 4.
Commissioner Kemp.
2 and 3.
Commissioner Wostel.
3 and 4.
It will be Alicia Guy and Michael Newitt. Your second board is the Diversity Advisory Council. We have 1 opening for the at-large position, and then for the Caribbean, it will be Jennifer DeJuice, and for the people with disabilities, it will be Jennifer Shiver. So for the at-large, please choose 1 Commissioner Hagan.
8.
Commissioner Myers.
8.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
5.
Commissioner Cohen.
6.
Commissioner Owen.
5.
Commissioner Kemp.
8.
Commissioner Wostel.
5.
So we need to do a revote for Timothy Driver and Laura Tucker. Please choose 1 Commissioner Hagan.
8.
Commissioner Myers. 8. Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
5.
Commissioner Cohen.
8.
Commissioner Owen.
5.
5.
8.
It'll be Laura Tucker.
Okay, can we have a motion to confirm?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to confirm, Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Next item.
Thank you. And the next item is yours, Mr. Chair, item F2 regarding an update to the county's drowning prevention program.
Thank you, Bonnie. This will be brief. Board members, back in 2015, I created the county's drowning prevention program. I wish I could take credit for it, but it came about after a meeting with Carrie and Bob Enriquez. Tragedy had struck their family when their son's kindergarten classmate drowned over, I believe it was Memorial Day weekend. In fact, that very weekend, there were 3 or 4 children who drowned. And so that caused me to really do some investigation and just kind of look into what options we had. Come to find out the county had a drowning prevention program years before, but had lost it, or we ended the program due to budget cuts at the time. So we came up with a program that started with those that were at risk, that needed it the most, and we started with early Head Start and Head Start programs, and I believe it started in 2015. And I know during COVID, I know that there were some challenges that happened there, but essentially what I want to do is just have staff come back with a report on how the program's doing and any suggestions that we have to possibly expand the program to serve more children. And I'll just end by saying basically what I said at the time, that we approve a lot of programs that improve our residents' quality of life, but this one saves lives. So just asking staff to come back with the report, and we'll go from there. And so I'll pass the gavel to the Vice Chair and make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hagan, second by Commissioner Kemp. Go ahead, Commissioner Kemp.
And I just couldn't agree with you more, Commissioner Hagan. I just think living here in Florida, I would want every child in Hillsborough County to be safe and learn how to swim. And I couldn't, I would love to dedicate as many resources to that as possible. I think it just makes so much sense.
Thank you. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you, Board. Next item.
Thank you. The next item is Commissioner Westel's item F4, to discuss the report on nonprofit organizations by the general fund.
Commissioner Wostel.
Thank Thank you, Chair, and I hope everybody was able to take the time provided over the past 2 months to look over the report. I felt like it was so much information that rushing into a motion would have been inadequate and unfair to everybody, but I am ready to proceed with a motion on that report. They're all based off of the options that were provided from staff. Some of the language in there was too gray, and I think it would have created some untenable situations and unintended situations. And even as fiscally conservative as I am, I thought it would have possibly went too far. So I will provide a copy of my motion to the county attorney, so you don't need to get out the typewriter. All right. I motion to implement the following protocols in lieu of the report received on April 5th to create uniformity, transparency, and accountability for the funding of nonprofits through Hillsborough County government. First, I would require that all nonprofits to report the most current required filing of the IRS 990 to include their executive compensation package and any familial conflicts, to include arm-length transactions. Additionally, supply a disclosure identifying all other government funding sources and amounts therein. If the nonprofit operates with any companion entities or owns any subsidiary entities, the above or similar financial reporting requirements shall persist through each organization. Second, as identified by the report, many nonprofits were being funded either entirely or almost entirely by the county. I would establish a funding cap of no more than 30% of a nonprofit's annual budget minus all other annual government funding identified in the reports above, and require a written funding proposal made available to the board members by the agency prior to the vote of approval. Third, I would implement a sunset period to expire at the beginning of fiscal year 25 for all non-core service nonprofit organizations, and at the same time direct staff to review and provide a list of well-defined county core services. Fourth, establish an automatic disqualification standard for any nonprofit with an executive or board member receiving over $200,000 annually of total compensation. Nonprofits are just that, and this will ensure our efforts to maintain this philosophy for the good of our community. 5, I would restrict all recurring funds of nonprofit organizations and preclude the county administrator's recommended budget from including new nonprofits or increased funding for an existing nonprofit. Additionally, some nonprofits were unknowingly receiving funding from 2 to 4 departments or sources. Thus, require all nonprofits, no matter what function they provide, to be listed within the nonprofit section of the county budget.
Second.
Okay, I've got a couple questions. I was trying to write as quickly as I could here. And I think most of them I'm comfortable with, but I do have a couple of questions. The first one, Bonnie, that sounded similar to what the city of Tampa has. Can you expound on that a little bit?
I think so. The city of Tampa has a requirement that they have to report the compensation and the salaries, and the board of each nonprofit has to acknowledge that they understand the contribution that the city is making. Whether it's exactly the same, I'm not positive.
Okay, but it's in the ballpark.
I think so.
Okay. Commissioner Walter, can you repeat or define a little bit better number 3? You mentioned a sunset period 2025. What does that entail?
That's correct. There were many nonprofits that we identified that were not even listed on the nonprofit section that turned out they were receiving funding sources from 2 to 4 funding departments. So it turned out that one specifically had been receiving recurring funds of, in total, over $1 million a year from at least the past 10 years, but potentially greater, but my report only included 10. This would require that there are no permanent recurring for non-core services, which is the item number which is my non-core.
I think 4.
Yeah, so this would end any permanent recurring funding for any that are not identified as a sound county core function.
Okay. And then on number 5, I caught the part about preventing the county administrator from including what nonprofits just in her recommended budget, or nonprofits that we haven't discussed or approved before. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
right. So it would be kind of 2 parts. It's that it would end the recurring and not preclude it from being pre-baked into the recommended. It doesn't say that a commissioner couldn't make a recommendation of their own.
Okay. So I understand the pre-baked. I like that term. But as far as restricting recurring, so does that apply to existing ones? So we would have to vote on them again every year, or is that new ones? Or
what it would do is, so let's take Crisis Center, that I can almost guarantee would be unanimous that we would identify that as a core county service. That would not be something that is caught into this. It's that if a commissioner that was here 20 years ago had a flag potentially for a nonprofit that was in there and they are not identified as a core county service, that it doesn't unintentionally get pre-baked into every future budget and continue to reoccur, because as CEOs change, as county commissioners change, as county administrators change, things have gotten lost over the years, which is a lot of what I believe how this number has grown so exponentially.
Okay. Commissioner Kemp.
Thank you. And that was a lot to absorb. I think there's some, I thought, and not that it is not a problem. And I started, at first you said 1, 2, 3, and then you said 2. So my numbering started going off kilter at that point. But so I would hope that we have 990s from actually all our not-for-profits. I don't know if we do, but I think it's a good idea if we don't, for sure. That makes a lot of sense to me. And the others, which I guess, as Commissioner Hagan said, may or may not be what they do at City of Tampa, but those first 3, or what I thought it was 3 items there, the 990s, the disclosure, the other entities.
We don't currently require the IRS 990s. I asked.
Okay, yeah. So that would be, I think, good to do. Some of the other things I'd like to explore more. On every item, I would like to have some staff analysis, not just this analysis at this time. So when it comes back, I'd almost like to take, I think, for me, each of these separately in terms of looking at them, not just as a whole piece here, and looking at them and the implications of each one, because I could most definitely probably support several of them, but I'm not sure the implications of some of the others. Something like the $200,000 annually, I would think would be, something that I could agree with you, except that I've been now a little bit through some not-for-profits when we're looking at things that are, we're trying to attract someone as a director, and we're looking at a competitive national market that has salaries in that range. So, I think that's maybe it could be acknowledged, but I just think that that's sometimes something that we have to look at when we're looking at some of the salaries, if they apply in a case where we're considering whether to support or in what way to support. Also, the 30% cap, which could sound reasonable, but depending on the service, I don't know. It may be something that we're supporting 100%, I guess, what you're identifying as core services. So it may be something that we would be supporting it 100% all the time, because it would be a service that we would provide if we didn't have a not-for-profit doing that kind of service. And I guess you gave the example of the crisis center. I'm sure there's other ones. The problem is, as you've experienced here, it's not apples to apples, but apples to oranges to bananas to peaches that we're looking at here in terms of amounts, in terms of services, in terms of core services. So I guess what I'd like to make sure is that to each and every one of these points, I'm just, Commissioner Wusto, maybe we could take these separately, and I'd like to have some staff analysis of the implications of any of these and how, whether they apply in terms of just, understanding the salary of a place, or if that is somehow some prohibition. I would just like a lot more clarity on how this works, because this is a very complex group of suggestions that you brought forward here.
Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you. And I agree largely with what Commissioner Kemp just said. I really think that what you've suggested are almost 5 separate motions. And I agree, like on number 1, I think it is something I could certainly support. On the others, I think that the problem I have is that the term nonprofits covers an awfully large universe of different things that occur throughout the county. And one person's definition of what is a core service may be different than what another person's definition of a core service is. And I think that before we start putting things into categories, it requires a much deeper dive and a larger board discussion about what's appropriate to fund and what is not. This summer, when we get into our budget discussions, I think that every commissioner here is going to have the opportunity, at whatever length they want, to delve into the appropriateness of any expenditure that's out there, whether it's part of the recommended budget or part of the flag process or something that gets brought up here at a meeting that represents a consensus of the board. And I think that putting the $200,000 limit is a good example. There are things that are technically nonprofits where the directorships of these organizations require national searches, where the people that are being sought may be in high-level positions in other communities across the country. And to limit ourselves, I think arbitrarily, is going to end up leaving a lot of things out that I just don't believe it will be the consensus of the board to discontinue funding. We can still have the discussion during the budget process and air it all out. I just think that putting an arbitrary cap on things prior to that discussion, I don't really think that's helpful. I also think if you did, the board could just as easily waive that provision by the same votes that they wanted to include it. So again, I think that the motion, at least for me to be able to support any part of it, it would need to be separated. But I agree with Commissioner Kemp that I need to see a lot more staff analysis. I have no doubt that through that analysis, we may very well identify things that we want to discontinue funding, and that's perfectly fine and appropriate. But I don't think we should make those decisions in a blanket kind of way. I think we should make them individually based on the merits of the individual organizations and programs.
Commissioner Wallstrom.
Thank you, Chair. So yeah, when we talk about we need more time, with all due respect, the report's been out and available for over 60 days now because we actually received it before the April 5th meeting. And then I went ahead, instead of jumping on and taking action on the 8 options that were in front of us, I actually reduced that. I made my options based almost entirely off of everything that was in there, made it less gray, and in fact, sometimes I made some of my options less abusive than the staff's recommended options that were in there that would have been too restrictive. I think that this is exactly on point. You're right, there are many definitions, and that's our job. We're here to make those definitions and make those decisions and put protocols in place for something that's been going on untenably for the past 2 decades, at least, that I know about. I believe that as far as the $200,000 annually goes, at that point, that organization might just not be the type of nonprofit that needs our help any longer. If they're able to afford, and I congratulate them on their ability to fundraise so well. And that is exactly the idea of a nonprofit, is for them to go out and fundraise for the benefit of the community and sell it. I think that this would hamper down and restrict it to those good ones. Like, I believe, for instance, that this would allow one of the speakers, Dress for Success, to continue to operate. I believe that it would allow the appropriate community partners to take a part in this, and these are only general funds. This is not a broad definition. The report was only about general fund dollars, and this is all that this is aiming to tackle. I believe that delaying this any longer or trying to unnecessarily fragment this motion that's been available to the board for over 2 months would just unnecessarily delay. It would create more staff time. And of course, we haven't even spoke about the benefit, the huge benefit that this is going to relieve on staff man hours that go into regulating all 101 plus nonprofits that we currently fund.
Commissioner Owen.
And did, I'm never going to feel bad about my future items, how long they are, Bonnie. That's the longest one. Did it address in there that whenever, I don't call them flag, I call it commissioner-directed funds, so that's kind of my name for flag. Whenever a commissioner directs funds like this, are we going to have it to where it may have been in there, to where they have to state specifically what the funds are going to be used for? Was that one of them, or did I miss that?
Yeah, part of our elected role, and this is why I thought some of the options, while good, were kind of too abusive, is that they were elected, commissioners were elected, and they were here to give input about the budget. And so I thought that some of them were too restricted. Mm-hmm. But I think specifically what you're looking for is that on item 2, establish a funding cap of no more than 30% of a nonprofit's annual budget minus all other governmental funding identified in the reports above, and require a written funding proposal made available to board members by the agency prior to the vote of approval. This is ensuring that there's not some, to Commissioner Cohen's point, there's not some arbitrary requirement in there. I didn't want to make it too laborious for staff, and I didn't want to make it too exclusionary for what a commissioner is aiming to tackle.
Yeah, and the reason I was asking that is because kind of like the situation we're in now, where we're having to reapprove a prior board's commissioner-directed funds. It takes a long time, I think, for staff. If we just say we're giving this money to this not-for-profit, and then staff has to go to the not-for-profit and create a contract and a reason, I just don't think that's fair to staff, and that's probably part of the reason why this takes so long. But it sounds like that addresses it, correct? Okay. Did I jump the gun by second? That is your motion for today, correct?
That is my motion.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have some concerns. As a former county employee, I've never, in my 25-year tenure here, where a commissioner had concerns about the former commissioner's budget during their last term of office. Whatever has been approved in the budget has moved forward and approved by the current board, which at this time we are the current board. Former commissioners have left. The same thing is going to happen to us when we go out in 24, or re-elected in 2026, and then that term expires for us in 2030. We would be also approving a budget that we're leaving in hands of other commissioners who would come in to play at that time. So unless we're going to decide earlier that we're not going to participate in the budget process so that the new commissioners could vote. But then we have our fiscal year that begins October 1, that we have to have our budget in place. I think the information that is being brought by you, Commissioner Watson, has some merit to it, but at the same time, it's very, very short notice. I think as we getting ready to move into the budget process, some of this can be discussed and we can vote at that time on some of these issues, because I too would like more information from staff. Yes, they've been out there, but we have not had the opportunity to discuss with dialogue back and forth on all of this information. But thank you for bringing it forth.
Commissioner Woolston?
Yeah, again, we're talking about this item. This report identified things from commissioners from a decade ago. The only old timer and the chair up here would have been present.
Was it one of my items?
I don't know. I didn't ask for names because it also is. It's also for the benefit of the community for future commissioners that are elected. That even if when the pendulum inevitably perhaps swings the other way, I don't believe that if they were duly elected that they should be dealing with lingering items from me, that they might not have had the interest to go through the budget. They deserve the same opportunity that we deserve as a full and available general funding source to handle the major issues that are affecting our communities today, not the issues that were affecting the community 10, 15, 20 years ago that have arbitrarily stayed in here. And I will say, though, so I'm not talking about the lingering items from the budget overlay. I actually understand why that happens. They are extremely annoying, and I would like to find a way to address that possibly, but this has nothing to do with that previous board. I'm talking about long-standing ones. So that's all I'll say. I do believe that, again, though, I will labor the point that all of my motions are based directly off of page 4. I actually reduced them significantly and made them more clear than what was offered. So I believe that there's been enough time. I believe that it's pretty transparent, and I would appreciate support on this motion.
Commissioner Owen, then Kemp, then I'm going to make a couple remarks.
Yeah, and I'll be real quick. And Commissioner Myers, what you said, it's such a defect in our system. I hear what you're saying, that a previous board has labored over this, it's been approved, but What I'll just say is, you know how it is. We represent district-specific offices, and I made a commitment when I ran for office. I made a commitment that I would focus on public safety, roads, and infrastructure first. Not that all this stuff isn't unimportant, folks. The small businesses are the backbone of our community. The churches are the soul of our community, and the not-for-profits are the heart of our community. I absolutely believe that. I've served on countless not-for-profits, and I understand what they have to go through and the impact that they have on these communities. But at the same time, a time comes where you have to pay the piper, and where we are at on roads, infrastructure, and public safety, I made that commitment. So what happens is, when I vote yes on that, my emails and my phones blows up saying, you're not keeping your commitment to us. And that's all I would say, is to kind of keep that in mind. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Kemp.
Not to belabor, but again, almost all the nonprofit budget does come out of the county-wide general fund. Again, is not in competition with our unincorporated infrastructure that most of us talk about. And I really don't want the public. I think we should be very clear about having two general funds. One very large one, the countywide general fund, that
Chair, at this time I rise in objection to the question.
Come out of, and second, the unincorporated.
Hold on, Commissioner Kemp. Commissioner Woolston.
I rise in objection to the question. At this time, Commissioner, this same question has been asked and answered several times, and at this point, it's just become intentionally dilatory behavior. This is a duly regulated objection to the question.
Commissioner Kemp, can you please make your comments without?
Yes, but I
Where were you going?
did want to respond. That wasn't even the comment I was going to make until that was said, that clarification. But here's what I think I'd like to make a substitute motion here. One, I think the transparency of the first one, or the first three statements you made about the required 990 supply disclosure, any other entities, to bring that back and to have that drafted as a separate motion. And then with the others, to bring them back and to workshop, to have briefing and analysis by the staff to understand in each of those, and to bring those forward as we go forward, and so that we can understand each of those entities in the future.
Second.
All right, we have a substitute motion by Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. Any comments on the substitute motion? All right, please record your vote.
Motion failed 3-4. Commissioners Cameron Cepeda, Hagan, Owen, and Woolstill voted no.
Okay, back to the original motion. I'm just going to make a couple closing comments here. First of all, I applaud Commissioner Woolstill for tackling this issue. Clearly, he took his time, was methodical, and did his homework. With many different funding sources, this is a complex and challenging exercise. But changes clearly need to be made, and I think this is a prudent manner for us to make improvements. I think we should bite the bullet, if you will, knowing full well that there will likely be unintended consequences, excluding a nonprofit that a majority of commissioners will want to fund, will support. In that case, it's simply going to require us to vote to make an exception to the policy. And I can almost guarantee that will happen, and that's not a bad thing. But I think these controls and these changes are needed, and I support the action here. And I think at the end of the day, I think it will help staff, because there have been a lot of challenges. I know they've shared with me, and I'm sure other commissioners, of the staff time that's required on a lot of these agreements that we've made with nonprofits in the past. And I think the worst case scenario is we'll simply have to vote to either make an exception or to fund another, to come back up and have us vote on it every year. But at least that will increase the transparency and the oversight of our action. So with that, please record your vote. Motion, Commissioner Wassel, second Commissioner Owen.
Motion carried 4-3. Commissioners Cohen, Kemp, and Myers voted no.
All right. Next item.
So sorry. We have one staff report. This is item G1, and this is to receive an update on the Property Assessment Clean Energy Program, which is known as PACE. And Christine will present this item, and Eric Olson is here from Consumer Services as well.
All right.
Yes, good afternoon, or good morning, Commissioners. I know the hour is late, so I'm going to be brief. The report is very detailed and includes a lot of information, but the primary precursor to this was the issue raised by Commissioner Kemp about a flyer. And so Eric Olson, I believe, is going to address some updated information on that. And then instead of just rehashing everything that's in the report, we just stand ready to answer any questions, both myself and Sam Hamilton, if needed.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Olson, Manager of Consumer Protection in the Consumer and Veteran Services Department. In response to Commissioner Kemp's request on May 3rd, our office began looking into the flyer that was circulating describing a community care program, what appeared to be offering funding similar to PACE. And initial information pointed to a similar telephone number that was being used that was identified in a previous case a few months ago. The company sending the flyer was suspected to be known as Community Care Advocacy LLC, doing business as BTHN Advisors LLC out of Fort Lauderdale, I'm sorry. On May 12th, we made contact with the company by telephone. We had one of our consumer protection investigators inquired about general services that they provided. The representative at the time stated, without being asked, that they weren't associated with Hillsborough County. They're a separate company. Apparently, they may have picked up on our telephone number that we were used to calling them. The representative would not give any more information unless we set up an appointment, which was declined at that time. On May 26th, we made contact for an appointment to get some more information from the company. Additional contact was made by our investigative supervisor, and an appointment was made for the 30th of May to have a representative come out and provide a quote on a window upgrade. On May 30th, this appointment occurred. We met with a regional sales manager for the company that was identified as BTN Hurricane Advisors LLC. When asked about financing, the first recommendation was a government program called PACE. PACE was noted at the time, they were describing it as the easiest way to finance repairs. There was no credit check involved, no money down, no payments until 2024, and qualifications were based on being current on your property taxes. The manager noted that the company that finances their PACE program is Fortify Financial. They provided a hard copy brochure that also noted Fortify Financial available as a financing option. And Fortify Financial falls under the oversight of the Florida PACE Funding Agency. May 31st, 2 letters were sent out to the companies that were identified, Community Care Advocacy LLC and BTHN Advisors. Both letters currently still show that they're in transit. They haven't been received by the companies yet. And they asked for a response to the potential violation of the unauthorized PACE activities occurring here in Hillsborough County, which appear to be occurring, and to respond to them directly. That summarizes our activities to this point, and I'm here available to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Owen?
Yeah, so first, and Ms. Beck, feel free to tell me to be quiet if I'm saying anything overstepping my bounds legally here. We're not involved in any litigation right now as a part of this.
We are not.
Okay, because I know that there's this bond validation. I've looked at this case and read it in depth, and I've also reviewed a lot of case law on the appellate levels throughout the state. And, you know, Ms. Beck, if you can maybe confirm, you know, them getting that order where we weren't included, or any of the counties for that matter, to me, we are an indispensable party, but I guess that's just not the way it works for a bond validation, correct?
Well, the bond validation action is not supposed to address collateral issues, and we would view this as a collateral issue because there's Florida statutes directly on point on the books now that require the local jurisdiction to approve, you know, having PACE in their community. So we were not a party, we did not get notice, nor did many other counties. So this is truly an issue statewide.
Correct. And now this is really an issue for tax collectors too as well throughout the state. And I know that ours has made a statement that looks pretty blanket across the state. So I guess their next step would be to sue tax collectors. Is that how that would work?
They potentially could. You know, she's just made her position known now based on the fact that we do not have interlocals in our county. And it is of note that Mr. Jasko did speak on behalf of the other PACE entities. Yeah. This does appear to be related to potentially only one PACE entity.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that concerns me, that, you know, if these I'm going to be careful calling people bad actors, but if these actors outside of our county are trying to do business over here in our county, we don't have any type of interlocal agreements and we don't have any real oversight over it. For the record, I want to say the way that the board acted before due to the bad actors in this was 100% correct. I would have been one of the 7 voting with you all. But one of my concerns is that, you know, I don't know a lot about this program or enough about this program. So, you know, I want to make a motion because I really want to get more information. I move to direct staff to come back to the board with options as it relates to the future participation and non-participation in PACE program. This should include, but is not limited to, how we can strengthen consumer protection measures and interlocal agreements. Also, a recommendation from legal as to whether we should participate in a DEC action similar to Pinellas County.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Owen. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Kemp.
I want to first of all thank the County Attorney's Office and the staff of the Consumer Office for your good work in looking into this. I know it turned into a pretty complex issue, and thank you for the report this morning. I feel confident our legal and consumer are really doing advocacy for the residents of Hillsborough County. And I'll just say in terms of this, when I first came onto the commission, this is when the PACE vote came before us to support it. And I also didn't know very much. And within 3 months of being a new commissioner, I was 100%. I was very, very supportive of it. And I had heard some information about, negatives about it, but I couldn't quite nail those down or get the story on why this wasn't a good thing. Well, I very much since have learned why. And just to be clear, there's only 3 states in the nation that have residential PACE programs. 3: California, Missouri, and Florida. And there have been very bad issues in, I think, probably every single jurisdiction that it's been put in. Certainly, that is what happened here. And I'll just say that if we were to ever do this, we would need such flashing red emergency signals so that people aren't subject to losing their home. And these are vulnerable, low-income people when you do it at residential PACE program that are at risk of this. And I'll tell you, one of the first counties and one of the first states to implement it widespread was California. LA County being one of the biggest counties in the nation, and they had a very robust PACE program. And in May 2020, after doing all kinds of consumer fixes and trying to put all kinds of efforts into making sure that people were protected, that they actually signed off on these things, that they understood that they could lose their house, they understood the implications, LA County finally decided that they couldn't do that any longer. The resources to put forward and make the PACE program available was just too much. And in May 2020, they repealed the program. The quotes were, could not provide sufficient protection for all consumers, while well-intentioned, has harmed far too many vulnerable and low-income homeowners. So that's the experience of one of the largest counties in the nation with the PACE program that undertook it for a number of years. And they're not the only place that has decided that, not just Hillsborough County and Los Angeles County after experiencing it. So I'll just put that out there. And one piece of information that I always like to give is we do have a program called the Solar and Energy Loan Fund, the SELF program here in Hillsborough County. It is a not-for-profit. It is a fantastic program that provides just this kind of funding, roofs, air conditioning, all those things for those who have credit challenges and challenges in any of these areas. They work with them to make sure that they can pay back. They have a 99% payback, and I wish every commissioner here would bring them out to their districts. If they have any group going on, we have got to get information about how great this program is and what services they provide, and we'll bring them back again so that our commissioners can understand that we have this great not-for-profit here in Hillsborough County, the SELF program. But I would urge you all to also bring that, if you have constituent meetings, let them know that this program is available, that serves just these people and is not a PACE program where they risk losing their house for these kinds of repairs and help.
Thank you, Commissioner Kemp. Commissioner Wong.
Yeah, I just was gonna, a lot of what Commissioner Kemp said, actually, I bought a house, I built a house a long time ago, and I didn't understand that as a new house, that after a year, my property taxes were gonna drastically elevate my monthly cost of living. So, but now the state has fixed that actually. If you buy a home, it's like extremely clear and the lenders are required. And I was just gonna say that we make sure that we have those types of protections in place for people. It's so transparent that they know what they're getting into. It projects what their increased cost of living is going to be, and that they have to sign off on that multiple times to understand what that's gonna do for their living expenses. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Owen.
Yeah, and I think, a preference for everybody who has equity in your home would probably be to do a HELOC loan, home equity line of credit. Those typically give you those nice low rates, but my understanding is that maybe not everyone can qualify for a home equity line of credit, and you certainly don't want to put an air conditioner or something like that on your credit card and pay such high rates. But Commissioner Kemp, I'll look into that program you're talking about. I'm very interested in that. I don't know about it. I also wanted to, because I referenced in my motion Pinellas County Deck Action, why we should join in, just in case, Ms. Beck, could you, so that everybody knows and you clarify, Pinellas County has filed a declaratory action on that ruling, correct?
Yeah, so Pinellas County has filed a declaratory complaint and seeking injunctive relief based on the idea that this bond validation in Leon County could allow PACE in their county when they had no notice of what was going on up in Leon, and they go through the law on what is acceptable in a bond validation for a court to rule on. So that case is pending. However, the PACE entity that is part of the case raised a venue issue. And so it is currently, that venue is one of the issues that can be appealed right away. So it's already up at the 2nd District. So that can be going on for some time before they get to the merits of the case.
Yeah, and that's why that was part of my motion. It could be where you recommend, hey, let's sit back and see what happens with Pinellas, not waste our resources. But that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My concerns regarding PACE, as we know, in the low-income communities, PACE thrive to be in those communities, to talk to the elderly, and it end up possibly they're losing their homes. Let's just be real about it. We don't need a program like that in Hillsborough County, where the elderly, all the years that they have worked, lived in their home, and because they need some repairs to their home, a PACE representative come along and sell them this quick story and never ask for any of the elderly relatives to be there, what have you, and almost forcing them to sign a document. And the next thing you know, they're not the homeowner anymore. And I have great concerns about that. If I have to lead the effort to say, in my community, in my district, we're not going to support PACE based on what happened and has happened to elderly in District 3, we cannot allow that to happen here in Hillsborough County. We need a PACE that's going to be honest and let the people know how the program works, if they so desire, but not to lose their home, not to lose the equity in their home. Thank you.
Commissioner Owen?
Yeah, and to follow up on that, Commissioner Myers, I spent over a decade fighting banks for predatory lending and consumer protection stuff. So I completely understand. I've seen people lose their home while I've gone down fighting for them, and it's a really tough thing, because in a lot of people in the state of Florida, for most people, it's their best asset, and it's one of the only things that are protected, too, from other creditors other than whoever files a lien or has a priority lien on your property. So I'm going to be well aware of that. My motion is not necessarily to approve the program right now. It is kicking the tires so that staff can come back and give us, in essence, pros and cons, and how if we can make it work, we can have some type of interlocal agreements that are more consumer protection friendly. So that's really my motion. So thank you.
All right, we got the motion by Commissioner Owen, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 6-1. Commissioner Kemp voted no.
All right, thank you. Bonnie?
Thank you. The next item are future discussion items.
Commissioner Cohen?
Thank you. I have just one item, Mr. Chair. Chuck Carden from Tampa Bay Water would like to speak to the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners on either September 20th or October 4th to give us an update on Tampa Bay Water and also the long-term master water plan. And I just wanted to ask the county administrator to please work with his office to put that on our agenda. Thank you.
Sounds good. Commissioner Owen?
And I'm sorry, I have a few. May I do them back to back?
Sure.
All right, thanks. My first future item, I know that this was discussed and visited in 2018. As I've been a commissioner here for this period of time, I have one of the largest landmass districts in the county, all the way from Apollo Beach to Plant City. And I do my best to every week be in every part of my district. And I'll be honest, it's tough to do. It's tough to do. And we're not Congress. We are really the local government that's closest to the people. As we have over 1.5 million people in Hillsborough County, I think it's time again to possibly revisit district-specific commissioners. That's 9 district-specific commissioners. So I want to first direct staff to bring back to the board the following: the requirements pursuant to our charter and our rules on the process for the board to vote for the implementation of 9 single-member districts and the removal of county-wide seats. This should include the timing requirements for the balloting of 9 district-specific commissioners for the 2024 ballot election. My next one, commissioners, as many of you may know, we had a tough incident over the Memorial Day weekend at Pine Key Island. A gentleman drowned and lost his life. And what I want to do is direct staff to communicate with police, fire rescue, and the owners of Pine Key Island for answers to the following: the circumstances surrounding the drowning over the Memorial Day weekend, how communication took place between the island employees and police and fire rescue during the incident, and for the owners of the island to inform us on safety measures that were in place over the Memorial Day weekend. And then last, I represent Apollo Beach, and I have had so many residents of the community reaching out to me. Mira Bay is a particular community there that's been there pretty established for a long period of time. I actually used to live in it. And I guess as they're getting towards the end of development, they're actually developing a large apartment complex within the community, which a lot of folks in the community say that this is in conformity with what they think is the plan. I don't know if that is or not. So I want to direct staff to bring back to the board information regarding the new rental units which are proposed to be built just inside the Mira Bay entrance by Compass Point. Please let the board know if the development conforms with zoning approvals and inform the board if the proposed design meets standards. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Bonnie, you good with all that? Your hand hurt?
Sorry.
Commissioner Myers.
I only have one. Mine is regarding Senate Bill 1718, the E-Verify laws and any other legislation that impacts the counties, and help the board to understand how this impacts our programs, and if we can have something back by, I think, coming back at the June 22nd meeting, Bonnie? if possible.
Yes, I know that we had something scheduled to come back and talk about all legislation. Commissioner Hagan, you separately asked about the Live Local Act, which I think we're going to move to a different meeting, and I think we can incorporate your request in that same June 22nd.
Thank you, Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you, Chair. I have two. One will be quick, one will not, but I will speed through it. And yes, if you didn't read that story, heartbreaking. He was like 26 years old. Very sad to see a young life lost. Okay, my first future item is about requesting staff, the county attorney's office, to provide language, and I have a whole copy for you. Provide language related to certain procurement policies and to present suggested changes that will allow this board to have a better understanding of the rationale for processes by which we obtain services, products, professional expertise, and/or consulting advice. This effort is to evolve and improve procurement policies to allow for current high level of performance, as well as to reflect expert, industry-specific information, standards, and practicalities, as which is provide a normalized field for competitive bidding and transparency in Hillsborough County. With the management of a multi-million taxpayer dollar budget, I want to be sure that we are not reducing sophisticated mission-critical services down to widgets, which ultimately and likely unintentionally allows us to be inefficient and ineffective for our citizens. During my initial research on this rather complicated process, and this is ongoing, so I may have more thoughts or questions as we proceed, I've learned that local governments have what they refer to as a cone of silence that prevents communication from the time a procurement is released until it is awarded to the governing body. Without objection, the cone being in place during this procurement process justifiably protects fairness to all and maintains credibility and integrity of the process. However, I am not persuaded at all that we need the cone once the notice of intent to award is released. In fact, I believe it should be removed entirely. Frankly, the right to petition our government is fundamental, dating back to the Magna Carta, and is guaranteed by the First Amendment. Further, once the award has been publicly announced, I want to hear from industry experts to ensure that I understand and address any potential irregularities, issues, or other concerns that may have taken place during the process prior to voting for it or against staff recommendation. Ideally, these types of items would have been addressed prior to release of the bid documents. However, I think it unwise and unfair and constitutionally questionable to assume that and then offer no reasonable recourse to a bidder short of protests, litigations, hearing masters, and months of delay, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this approach of denying the ability to petition the government bothers me at my core. It provides me with only one side's perspective, the government's, and assumes infallibility of the government. With 10 years in the military, I assure you the government makes plenty of mistakes. I need to know all the facts and circumstances to make the best decision for my constituents, and believe it handcuffs the BOCC and the information the elected officials may receive. To minimize a run at the board after the notice of intent, I'd also like to closely look at issues that can be addressed prior to the release of major procurements, major to be defined and determined by staff, perhaps over $1 million, and a few minor changes which will bring a higher level of efficiency. My current list includes, for example, as the BOCC currently uses future items on the agenda, perhaps build on that and improve it with future/upcoming procurements. Again, major procurements to be defined. In summary, the following are some suggestions for modifications I'd like brought back to this board to consider by the first August meeting. Modify the cone of silence to allow for outside communication to staff and BOCC within the first 5 business days of the procurement being public, and 2, once the notification of the intent to award prior to BOCC vote. Of course, we should keep the integrity of the procurement by continuing the cone of silence during the evaluation process as a whole. However, all evaluations should have independent scorecards available for public record upon the notice of intent to award, not after. I would also like suggestions of removing the requirement for cone of silence on sole source procurements. Again, these changes are intended to evolve the procurement policies to allow for the continued high level of integrity, as well as expert industry-specific information, standards, and practicalities, as well as provide in a normalized field for competitive bidding and transparency. And I will provide a copy of that rather long request that I apologize for, and this one will be short, Mr. Chair. In September of 2021, the board entered into an agreement. It was actually a second interim agreement with HMS Ferries and Southwell Development. This is now, I was stunned to research and find this out, a 10-year essential study determining the feasibility of the South County Ferry. I would like to request that staff, by the July 12th BOCC meeting, bring back from the appropriate parties that were awarded the $3.7 million a comprehensive report of the current status of the feasibility study of the South County Ferry with HMS and Southwell Development Group. Specifically, the initial report in 2021 estimated that the project's total capital cost would be $54 million. This $54 million, of course, was prior to staggering inflation that could produce an unknown number at this point. With the timeline and completion requirements of this agreement, it behooves the board to have this comprehensive report from the parties by July, because it would require us to budget for it appropriately in our 2-year budget cycle that we go through near the end of the year. And again, I would like that by July the 12th. Any questions?
You may have to roll the tape.
Can I break that down just real quickly?
Sure.
I think July 12th is okay on the ferry, yes? Okay. Regarding the first one, though, because that was a lot for me to
For August,
absorb,
yeah.
I think August is going to be tough.
Okay, well,
So maybe after I have a chance
we
to
can
review
talk
it,
about the date.
and maybe even if we want to break it into pieces, we can talk through that. I just didn't want to give you an illusion that that could get done by August. It sounded like a lot when I was listening.
Okay.
But okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, then I've got a quick one here. Last Sunday, a few communities in New Tampa experienced a sudden and intense burst of weather. The impact was brief and localized, but powerful and destructive. Communities suffered storm debris, like what we have seen after sustained tropical weather. In fact, one text I received said it was worse than Hurricane Ian. Truckloads of download trees, broken limbs, landscape debris resulting from winds, hail, and rain covered both private and public land. So as a result, I was contacted by several folks in Hunters Green. I know some folks in Arbor Green. My office contacted both Solid Waste and Public Works. And while everyone's looking for a way to aid the residents, what we uncovered is that a lack of a plan for addressing storm debris stemming from increased number of sudden downburst. We have response plans for hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, storm surges, and almost everything that's a quote-unquote declared state of an emergency. But we have little or nothing for these situations that are too compact, too localized, and are not classified as a state of emergency. So I'm just going to ask the county administrator to come back within 30 days on recommendations on how we can assist citizens with cleanup in the aftermath of small but damaging storms that might otherwise, again, not qualify as a state of emergency. We can do that. All right, and with that, we had 13 people that did not have an opportunity to speak during public comment. There may be a few of them here, so I'm going to run down the list here and give an opportunity for those to speak. Kathy James, I don't know if Kathy is here. David Coleman, no. Tina Young.
Good morning, my name is Dave Coleman. Hotel vouchers are still child abuse. I always say that. What a great day for diversity and inclusion, especially this morning. In what America are they not of immense spiritual value? I attended the Hillsborough County Library meeting where the director reported he can't break federal law, but he will research options for this board, even though there will be no content change and there are already parent opt-out plans in place. Last month, it was Enterprising Latinas. This month, it's the Children's Board, pulled funding from Seminole Heights Tribe that provides 50 activities a week for local children. Kind of goes to what you're talking about nonprofits and whether they'll be continued to be funding. How can the woman keep operating that without having some general idea that funds are going to be in place the following year? Might want to really think long and hard about how many funds you want to rip away from worthwhile projects. I attended the Amira stockholders meeting where the CEO, in lackluster answers to our questions, said regarding increasing solar that it's complicated and it will take a lot of thought. I attended Wear Orange at Curtis Hickson, where TPD and are not elected state's attorney didn't acknowledge that it was Moms Demand Action that created that event. I attended the county town forum at University Area CDC. It was a beautifully well-attended meeting in our frontline community with many agencies present. You heard all about it this morning. A pastor stood up and asked if he had to e-verify his members. If he brings them to a sister church in Georgia, will some of them be arrested re-entering Florida? I asked our first responders if they still are going to take everyone to hospitals. They said no change because federal law says that hospitals will receive anyone. And apparently our police will still use the MHC Baker Act despite this board's decree that they e-verify people being taken in on a Baker Act. On my way to Live, Grow, Thrive 2045 comprehensive plan Monday night, I saw a mom and her children with no shelter or bench squatting, not sitting, because of the garbage that was all on the ground around them. They were squatting in garbage, waiting to go home. I want, by the end of the day, bus stop 39 to be cleaned up. I want the garbage off the street. I don't know if I have enough time for the rest of this, but 2 events, 1,000 each. Migrants marching.
Thank you, Mr.
On Dale
Coleman.
Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Tina Young.
They're our neighbors. They're
Thank you, sir.
citizens.
Rachel Pereira. Is Rachel here? Brooke Ward. Todd Randolph. Peter Horseman. Nikki Golliner. And then Layla Lilliquist will follow you. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. This is my first time at a meeting here and my first time speaking, so bear with me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you today. I stand before you to reject the future project of the Brandon Library. Upon careful consideration, I believe it's not in the best interest of our residents or our tax dollars. First and foremost, we must address the immediate needs and priorities of our residents. It is our duty to ensure that our citizens have proper infrastructure and safe roads. We cannot overlook these pressing issues in favor of a project that will not serve the greater good. We also must not forget our responsibility to protect our natural resources and preserve the delicate balance of our ecosystem. It is our duty to prioritize the well-being of our county over short-term gains. After further research of the statistics, it is shown that libraries are being used less and less due to ebooks and digital downloads. In 2018, there were over 6 million books and movies checked out in the library, with around 2.4 million ebooks and digital downloads. And it's trending up every year. In 2022, there were 3.5 million books and movies checked out with over 4.6 million ebooks in digital downloads. So now there is more than 1 million more ebooks in digital download. This will continue to trend up with the lack of books available in the actual library and with the digital media becoming more popular. In conclusion, it is in my sincere belief that the proposed project is not in the best interest of our residents. We have responsibility to carefully evaluate the potential impact on our community's well-being, environment, and economy. Let us redirect our energy and resources towards projects that prioritize the long-term prosperity and happiness of our residents. Together, we can build a future that we can all be proud of. Thank you for your attention, and thank you to the ones who truly care about our residents.
Thank you, Ms. Gallner. Layla Lullyquist, and then Dalton Gregory, if you're here, and then Todd Seamy. Hi, good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's good to sit through the entire meeting for a change. I haven't done this in about 5 years. You guys are working very hard. I'm very impressed with you, Mr. Wassel. Applaud you. We still don't need the library in Brandon. And I also, again, want to apologize because you guys did not vote on that library. Most of you didn't. I think there was only 3 people here that voted on the library back in November. And I apologize that I understood from our newspaper article in Brandon that you guys did. And I think if you guys, during the 4th of July parade, you'll see how you can fill out a form and be in the 4th of July parade, have a car, wave to your constituents, your taxpayers, and look off to the left and see that canopy of oak trees and see that pristine conservation area that you're about to asphalt over with 100,000 square feet of asphalt. That is not the Brandon community. We have residential districts all around there. We're putting a library in a residential district. This does not work. We have a beautiful library. We don't want you to sell it to Brandon Regional. They already have taken up all of our space in Brandon. And I think that's what the plan is. Our center place is there for our kids. That is our emerald necklace. This is our home. That article on the back side of there was written in 2004. My daughter was 7 years old. She's 27 now. I say it then, I say it now. We're overlooking the obvious. And in fact, in meeting with you, Mr. Owen, you said you didn't seem to see that there would be a problem with our community that has never been allowed to have a picnic blanket on the inside of that canopy during the 4th of July parade, or to have a picnic during the 4th of July parade because it was always privately owned. Why not give our community back a sense of, we need that green space. We have no parks for our community. We're being gutted with affordable housing on every corner now in Brandon. Enough of this. You guys, your expenditures for affordable housing. I work with the homeless, and I've never accepted $1 from the county for my not-for-profit. I've never. I pay for it out of my pocket. 15 years. That's 70 hours a week I work to do my store and the not-for-profit. I love my community. Somehow you guys have to turn this around. Because what is happening here, there was an article about the recent approval of the environmental comp plan, so people could not go back and sue for taking our green spaces and taking our waterways and taking our beautiful, pristine lands. And that was approved, but a statement that was from the article said, that's not what this is about. Putting this law in place that people could not sue the government when they were disturbing green spaces and environmentally sensitive lands. That's not what this is about. This is about greasing the skids for developers who are pushing to develop some of the last remaining low-lying green spaces in Florida.
Okay, we've got Dalton Gregory. Dalton here. If not, Todd Seamy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner Hagan, great to see you. Just wanted to commend earlier this morning, played with Luis Gonzalez and Fred McGriff at Jefferson High, class of '82. Dwight Gooden going to the World Series with the Mets. He was at Hillsborough in '82. I want to get down to business real quick about this. I want to talk. I'm the only genius who wants to give the county money instead of take from it. But I have this on the Elmo right here. and I don't know if it can flash up or not, but this basically is when you submit plans in Hillsborough County, you get a site approval, you get a form like this, and you'll see this number of $3,600. Now, I'm someone who's been doing business with Hillsborough County since 1986, over $100 million in Hillsborough County. Gladly, I paid it, okay, because we have development, we have houses and things, and people need permits and everything, the building department site review and all that. Now, my issue here is, now there's about 100 people waiting in line, you know, on computer, but you have to have an appointment. So you're 30 days out. So there's 100 people at $3,600. It's $360,000 that the county is not generating. And there's really, I'm conservative on that number. That's 200 people making $3,600 that need to pay. That's $720,000 that the county revenue could be receiving now. There's only a few revenue sources in Hillsborough County. Tax appraiser Bobby Enriquez's office, you know, and driver's license and building department site review. So all I'm asking is that at 24/7 in Manatee County, you can upload your project 24/7, 365, and you could pay the county fees, and then they will review it to see if you need anything else or not. There's no reason to have to wait 30 days to upload and pay those fees. We're losing millions of dollars on that. Okay, I want to show you something else. This is a little site plan. You see these trees, they're marked out to be removed. When you submit plans and the landscape people can't get out there quick enough, they can't fine you $8,800 like one of my clients is getting fined for taking out the trees that were marked down. So I'm hoping we can resolve and pay $1,000 and go from there. I'm bringing these to your attention because the general fund or any fund is all Hillsborough County taxpayers paying it, okay? We, the people, are paying the funds around here. And I'm glad Mr. Wilson said that we're drunken sailors out of control here. So I'm trying to bring money in, but I don't know if that's a good idea the way we're spending it and going out. So I'm just letting you know there's millions of dollars that the county could be receiving today, right now, that people are willing to pay for their site development, their building department, their permits. And I'm an expert in permits and going from there. So I just want to bring that to your attention. God bless you all. And remember, Hillsborough County is set on Jesus Christ, the Lord Jesus Christ, and holiness, okay? Now, and I want to say on that right there, and we're standing with Jesus. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Seamy.
Sir, my aide is going to come grab you, and nice beard.
All right, Mr. Seamy's the last one that signed up for public comment. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.